Welcome to another edition of Mass Mats and Mayhem. I'm your host, Justin Harvey. You can find me on Twitter at JustinHarvey75. You can find the entire show on Twitter at MMMShow75. And happy birthday to me, or to us. It's our 50th something episode here, I think. Byron, what's going on?
Well, happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We're 50 episodes old. Don't look a day over 25. You can find me at Byron Fever on Twitter, Snapchat, Venmo, all of those things.
Who's the other guy? Casey. What's going on, Casey?
Hey, what's up, Casey at Lucha Gringo? I was not here all 50 episodes, but I probably like a solid 40, right?
Well, see, the way I look at it, like the heels are at like 102 episodes or something crazy now. But I was doing the math, and I think that we've done more hours of programming somehow than they have already at 50 episodes old.
Yeah, we tend to go about 3 hours long sometimes, like last week.
Well, it was an important week. It was a big week, and this week is important too, Casey. So, pop some trucker crack and let's do this thing, man.
Hey, I live in the home of trucker crack. Thank you very much,
Justin. What's so important about this week?
Well, I mean, it's only important because it's the 50th episode, but we also are being joined for the 50th birthday party by the man, the senior official, not senior official, and not senior like he's old, but like he's the head ref in charge, the HRIC. Is that what you call it? He's the man, future Netflix star for G.L.O.W, right? All right.
Yeah.
Ooh.
For G.L.O.W.
Hey, Marty.
Notice I said for G.L.O.W, people. Future Netflix star for G.L.O.W. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Marty Elias, what's going on, brother?
Hey, guys. How you doing, man? It's awesome to be here finally, So let's do this. Let's rock and roll, man.
Yeah, like we were hoping to get Marty on sooner, but you were actually taping G.L.O.W back then, right?
Yes, I was.
So you gotta explain G.L.O.W a little bit to people. We might as well start there since we've already mentioned it. Because it's not the gorgeous ladies of wrestling that I remember very well from my preteen years, because it was awesome. But
Heavy Metal Sisters, bro, fuck yeah.
But this is actually a comedy kind of based on that, right? Done by Genji Kohan, the woman who does Orange is the New Black and Weeds, right?
Correct. That is going to be airing. I've heard rumors, and of course I'll say rumors. It's supposed to be June 2017, July, summerish. But what it is, it's G.L.O.W, but it's the story. It's loosely based on how the gals got their tryouts with G.L.O.W in how G.L.O.W came to be with the promoter at the time who was running it, and how the girls auditioned, how they trained, and all the other stuff. And what it does too, it tells the story of the girls, their personal lives and the struggles that they had, because you got to figure a lot of these girls were models and actresses who didn't know dick about wrestling, and were just told that, hey, there's an opportunity for a show, and they all went and auditioned, they tried out and stuff, and then when they started training, they were in for a whole different surprise, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, it's so cool. Like, I was fortunate enough to see the pilot of the first episode, and man, you talk about amazing, man. I mean, this show is really gonna catch fire, and it's really gonna be a hit. I honestly believe that, not because myself and Chavo and everybody else involved worked our asses off, but it's written so very, very well, kind of like Lucha Underground.
But now this is kind of reminiscent of actual G.L.O.W too, right? You have actors portraying wrestlers that people had to actually teach how to wrestle too, right? Or you guys have stunt double? Like, how's the actual wrestling work on this show?
Yeah, there were stunt doubles and such, but the girls were actually trained from ground zero, and the training came from, of course, the great Chavo Guerrero Jr. He was the consultant, and he was a wrestling trainer and such and everything, and Chavo was the one who actually got me involved with the project and brought me in as the wrestling ring technician, where I was in charge of all the G.L.O.W rings, the setup, the safety, I mean, all that other good stuff. And I actually helped Chavo with a little bit of the training and, getting the girls up to snuff, so to speak. And it was literally from ground zero, because I remember the girls the very first day that they came in and they heard the ring and the ropes and all this. And a lot of them were just like looking at themselves going like, what did I get into? It was so cool.
That's
That
dude.
come-
It's
that
That's
come to Jesus
awesome too,
moment.
because on the original Glow, wasn't it Ronda training the girls
Yeah.
originally?
Yes, it was. And, you know, it's funny how everything came full circle to have one Guerrero start the original stuff and then the other Guerrero, you know, for the TV show, for the story about it. So it was very, very cool to, you know, to have everything come full circle like that.
well, I certainly can't wait, and we'll wait for an official date from Netflix, and then we'll all be waiting for that date when it says that it's going to air on Netflix. Glow.
Because we are not dicks.
Yeah, and you know the thing is too, you know, there's rumors out there about dates and stuff. That's why I said rumors, you know, summer or whatever. But you know, whenever Netflix, you know, brings this out, you know, Glow is going to be there. And believe me, guys, I mean, it's going to be a hit, man. And the magic that you felt there, and us filming, and everybody just being a big team, and just the support and just what people really were doing there. I mean, it's amazing. And like I said, man, I really compared it to the chemistry and everything that we had on the Lucha Underground sets when we're taping, man. It's just off the hook, and everybody is so excited for it. And it's going to be, you know, it's going to knock your socks off.
Well, that's what you want when you're working like a 12-hour shoot day. You want to be in there with some people that you like, and you know, just get down in the trenches and get it made and have some fun doing it, because you know, it's once in a lifetime opportunities to make good products like that.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, I mean, the actresses were great. I mean, Allison Brie, who is awesome. You know, she's one of the lead actors, as is Betty Gilpin, and Mark Maron. It was great to work with Mark Maron, man. He's such a trip. But you know,
Yeah.
just to see these guys go from zero to hero, so to speak, was so cool. And to have them really get the characters down, and then the costumes and stuff, dude, you guys are going to be so amazed with the look of how this is. It's so cool. I'm not going to give away anything, but it was an amazing experience, and I hope they say we're going to do season 2 through 10 and let's do this again, because I'm there too.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope. And I got to imagine with the success of Orange is the New Black and other stuff that Genji's done, that it's going to take off and really resonate with people. So, and I think the cool thing about it is I think you're going to hit a cross market with that show too, where you're going to hit some wrestling fans, and you're going to hit some nostalgia guys like me that remember the original show. Plus, I think you're going to hit a lot of her female audience that watches Orange is the New Black and watched Weeds when it was on. Which sounds like a big recipe for success to me.
And documentary audience, because Netflix had that awesome Glow doc that the logo.
Oh, that's a great doc.
Yeah.
I cried during that doc though, man. That doc is sad at the end.
Yeah, and you know what's cool though? Cauliflower this year is actually honoring Glow, which is cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's all coming together. It's the synergy.
It is, man. I can't wait for it, man.
Okay, so I got a question for you, Marty. This is it.
For cauliflower, actually. That's kind of what we're looking for.
Sorry, I was interrupting you, Casey. Say it again. I was messing you up.
That we're hoping that Kevin Cross wins some new talent awards from the Cauliflower Alley. I think he's the kind of guy they would enjoy.
He's a cool dude, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude is a freaking beast, man. I don't know if you've caught any of his recent promos, but man, if you don't want that dude to cut like some serious nasty promo on you, do not hand Kevin Cross a microphone.
You know, it's great, man. He actually sends me these promos, and he asked me to critique them for him. So,
yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, man. So he's a good dude. But you know, it's funny. I tell him, I go, dude, I'm just a referee. What do I know?
Yeah, you've been around a while though. I think you know a few things. But here's the real question for you.
Okay.
Fozzy, greatest rock band ever, or second best rock band to Kiss?
They're probably third behind Motley Crue.
Oh, the Crew.
Kiss, Motley, and Fozzy. So there you go. There you go, Chris.
So
Getting the rub.
You are
trying to get us on the Jericho network, bro? Is that what's happening right now?
No, but you do have a little bit of a connection with Chris and Fozzy, right?
Absolutely, man. I went and did merchandise for those guys and helped them out, and kind of did road manager stuff for them when they were in LA, and you know, so it's cool. As a matter of fact, Jericho's even trying to put together that cruise, that rock cruise for next November. So, there's a lot of cool Fozzy stuff coming. Matter of fact, he texted me the other day, told me he was laying down vocal tracks for the new Foz record. So I can't wait to hear it.
That's awesome. See,
Hey, they made a badass ABBA cover. That's hats off right there, man. Their SOS cover is great.
I don't know if people know about your love of music, Marty. So, I mean, a lot of the hardcore believers that come to the temple obviously know, but why are you so passionate about your rock and roll?
Because rock and roll got me through a lot of stuff when I was younger, man. I mean, a lot of stuff, being a young adolescent kid on welfare and food stamps, my dad in prison, mom and 7 kids by herself and stuff, I mean, that was pretty much what held me together, man, and guided me and told me, hey man, you can do this, just stay positive and just listening to that and just getting all that negativity out through the music and the aggression and everything else with the lyrics, I was able to stay away from jail and trouble and all that, and I focused on my dreams, and I shot for the moon, and I landed on the moon, and that's why music to me is it's a passion. Just as much as I love wrestling, I love music. And like you said, a lot of people don't know that about me, but I mean it's deep for me. Matter of fact, my daughter, her name is Shandy, for the Kiss song Shandy off of the Unmasked album from 1980. Her middle name is Monique, and that's Ace Frehley's daughter. So her name is Shandy Monique. So she's a full-blown Kiss baby.
That's awesome. So, well, you're talking about these big dreams as a kid. I mean, was wrestling always a part of that? Like, did you want to be a wrestler when you were a kid, or how does one get to being, the senior official, being the man, the third man, in the ring? Like, how do you do that from growing up poor and dreaming of Kiss concerts to being like this huge ref?
I wanted to be in Kiss. I wanted to be in Kiss. And then when Motley came out in 81, I was actually 15 years old when I hitchhiked to see Motley Crue for the first time in 1981. Yeah, but I heard about this band. I was like, oh my God, I seen the album cover, and that just resonated with me and went, oh my God, look at these guys. These guys are cool. So I went, I got to be a part of this. So I grew my hair out, dyed it blue black. I pierced my ears. Of course, I was trying to look cool, but what I'll do is I'll text you a photo, Justin. You can see it, man. I looked like Juan Epstein and Jimi Hendrix's love child at the time.
Oh,
yeah.
I have some pretty bad ones myself, man. I had one up on Twitter the other day where I've got like the Kid and Play flat top thing going on, and I thought that I was straight out of a Kwame video. It was horrifying.
Yeah.
So good luck, Justin. Bring it back, bro. It was sweet.
Yeah, so like getting back to your question, I was in love with Kiss, and I loved the whole theatrics, and I loved the whole spectacle of being entertained, and being that young and being poor, and just like dreaming one day, oh my God, and I remember, I'll never forget it. I remember hearing Kiss selling out Madison Square Garden in New York, and I remember going like, wow, New York was a whole different world for me, man. That was a different planet. And I remember telling my mom vividly when I was 10 years old, one day I'm going to be at Madison Square Garden. And she went, oh, that's nice. Didn't believe me for one bit. Of course, I mean, I was like, okay, you 10-year-old little Mexican poor kid on food stamps and welfare. Yeah, okay. So, the day that I did work Madison Square Garden, the first time, I worked it with Hot Rod. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I called my mom from a payphone that's backstage at the Garden, and I called her and I said, Mom, guess what? I'm here. Where are you? And I said, I'm in New York at Madison Square Garden. Where's that? So she didn't know. But
it's the Mecca. It's the heart of all entertainment.
Yeah, so but what made it even more special is, working it with Hot Rod, and I even told Hot Rod, I go, you know what? WrestleMania 1, just the whole Garden, Piper, Snuka, whatever. I said, dude, this is an honor. He goes, let's go out and kick it, kid. So that's what we did. But
wow. Go ahead. What were you gonna say, Marty?
No, but I really just was at a point where, I wanted to be a musician, and I wanted to do something with entertainment. I wanted to sign my name and sign autographs for people and take pictures and stuff. And that was something that I did since I was a kid. I would literally write my autograph all the time on stuff. My mom used to get upset, and she's like, stop writing on that stuff. I was like, all right. But my goal was to do something, and I knew that I was always going to do something. I just didn't know what. So my little brothers were younger. Once my dad got out of prison, mom and dad worked weekends or whatever, or they would go out and stuff. So my little brothers loved wrestling. This was early 80s. And the only thing that would keep them quiet or actually get them focused was wrestling. So we would watch all the old NWA stuff. We would watch the WWF and just all this stuff. And that's what kept them intrigued. So after a while, I just sat there and just started getting mesmerized by it too, and just going like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So then when I was old enough to drive, and I bought my first car, which was a 1976 hatchback Pinto, 2-door.
Nice.
I started taking those guys to the sports arena and to other places so we could go see it. And to me, that was like, rock star. That was, the whole spectacle and just everything larger than life. So I said, man, I got to do this, but I didn't know how I was going to do it. So I didn't do it. And then, of course, I was married at the time. I had a little baby. Didn't know. I was working a normal job, trying to make ends meet. And something just said, hey, you need to go do this. So I started training because I wanted to be a wrestler. And I trained with Jesse Hernandez at the School of Hard Knocks in San Bernardino. Jesse, there's a plug for you, bro, so you owe me. So I started training with Jesse, and I remember going into Jesse going, hey, man, I want to wrestle. Oh, brother, it costs $15 a day, brother. It needs to be cash. So $15 every time, cash. And I started, this was late 94 with Jesse, 95-ish. And I, started training. And that was the thing, that I wanted to do. I got in there and I really, really wanted to learn how to take the bumps, take the falls, do everything else. And that's what I did. And I worked hard to do it. But it got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm not working any shows. Jesse's not putting me on any shows. I'm setting up chairs. I'm setting up rings. And, I want to be on a show. So I wanted to be a manager. And I'm revealing something that a lot of people don't know about me. So I'm the big reveal for you guys.
All right.
I started training as a manager, and I called myself Mr. Ruby. For my real last name is Rubalcaba. My born legal name is Rubalcaba. So I was Mr. Ruby, and I was all specced out and everything else. And I knew Paul Roma from just years of going to shows, and he befriended me and I befriended him. So oddly enough, I'm actually godfather to Paul Roma's daughter. And I, wanted to do something. So Paul Roma at the time was trying to get a tag team together with a guy named Alex Pitu. They were supposed to be cousins, the Pretty Primos. And they called me in and said, hey, we need a manager. So we got some dark matches. I think it was late 96, early 97, out in New York and Connecticut. And I went out and did some WWF dark matches as Mr. Ruby with the Pretty Primos. And of course, we never got picked up or nothing like that. But the funny story is, it wasn't funny at the time, is I quit my job because I thought that I was making it with WWF.
Oh.
Quit my job, flew out there, did the dark matches and everything else, then came back, and I didn't hear anything from anybody for about 6 months. And of course, I had a baby and a wife who were, starving.
Not happy, I'm sure.
No, yeah. So finally, I got a call and said, hey, I got a call from Cornette. They're not going to do anything with us. So I went, okay. So that was probably one of the hardest lessons that I ever learned wrestling-wise, because I was so green and didn't know anything. So of course I started training, because I loved it. And of course thankfully I found a job. So I started training, and then I would hear guys complain about referees. So one night I pulled Jesse aside. I said, hey, I'd like to referee. Oh, brother, I already got enough referees. I don't need another, brother. No, really, I can do this. So what I did is I started asking the guys to stay after with me to let me practice. And I would watch Tommy Young, I'd watch Timmy White or Joey Morella at the time. I would just watch tapes and I would practice, and I would just kind of mimic what I seen, because nobody really trained me to be a referee. I just picked it up on my own. Jesse would throw pointers and, oh, brother, do this, and positioning, but that was pretty much it. So lo and behold, I wanted to referee, and there was a show that they were doing, and it was in Parker, Arizona. And I drove out there with Rick Knox, actually, and I showed up, and Bill Anderson, who was still with Jesse at the time, with his big Hawaiian shirt. He goes, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, I'm here to referee." And he goes, "We don't need any damn referees." And I said, "Well, I'm here anyway." So then Jesse came out. He goes, brother, what are you doing here? Well, brother, we don't have any room, brother. And I said, I'm here, man. So he left. I was sitting in the lobby with my bag and my referee shirt and, my whatever. And he comes back about 15 minutes later and he goes, brother, we can give you 2 matches. And I went, okay, brother, but we're not going to pay you, brother. We're not going to pay you, brother. It's a look, brother. Of course, every wrestling promoter, they don't want to pay anybody. Even to this day, they don't want to pay referees. So, and stop me anytime to jump in or with that.
No, this is exactly what I wanted to know. Like how, because nobody knows this. Like everyone has heard stories of how you get to be a wrestler and the stuff that they went through and they trained and did this and the other thing. Nobody knows how somebody gets to be a ref. I don't know that I've ever heard the story of anyone on how they got to be a ref. No.
And oddly enough, a lot of the WWE guys who got there, like Kyoto was good friends with Gorilla Monsoon. So, that's how he got his. But Kyoto earned his stripes. Charles Robinson was a photographer once. So there's just different avenues that people took. This is my avenue, and this is how I did it. But I'm sure it's a lot different now, and I'll get into that because the way I got into WWE and all the other stuff was, I'm sure guys would be blackballed the way I did it, but I did it.
Well, so how did you get into WWE? I mean, because that's the show. Like you go from doing these indie promotions and finally getting put on as a ref to WWE and WrestleMania 25 and some of the biggest events of all time. Like how did you get in there?
Well, actually, I'll finish the Jesse story,
sure.
and I'll jump into that. I got 2 matches, and the second match that I had, they wanted me to take a bump. Thankfully, I knew how to bump and stuff and everything, but I was still kind of green, and I really hadn't. This was my first show, so I was really scared because these guys wanted me to take a bump, and I remember the wrestler, the guy in the match. I won't mention his name because I don't want to embarrass him. But he was hot because I said, I can take a bump. But, he's like, well, how long have you been training? So I told him and everything. And he went to Jesse in front of me. And he goes, man, you give us this green-ass guy. Man, he doesn't know anything, man, and this and that. So I said, hey, look, I said, I'm going to do my best. I said, whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do it. And I was sincere about it, just like I am today. I said, just give me the opportunity to do that. And that's the thing. You ever give Marty Elias an opportunity, guess what, pal? Marty's taking it and running with it. So that's all I wanted. And so finally, the guy was upset. I took the bump and everything else. To me, the bump was great. He came back and complained about it, but that's okay. So years forward, real quick, I'm WWE and this and that and everything else, TV. The guy comes out for a tryout to WWE. So he comes up.
Already there and a made man, basically.
I'm already there and I'm a made man and everything else, but I was cordial to him. He apologized for what he said and this and that and everything. I said, look, no harm, no foul. I get it. Good luck. And, God bless you. That was it. So, I didn't go bury the guy. I didn't go, say, hey, this guy and everything. I was just like, God bless you. I made my way. Find your way, brother. So
did they call him up, Marty? You don't have to tell us who it is, but did they call him up?
He's probably still sitting at home waiting for the call.
Was it John Cena?
No. I love John Cena, by the way, guys. Me and John go back, man. But getting into WWE, what I did is I started working a lot, and I was working for everybody and anybody that I could. So what I did is I started videotape. I get all the videotaped VHS, and what I did is I started making my own photos and stuff, and I even got my own business cards made back then. I was serious about this, so I started sending it to everybody I could. And I wanted to branch out. So then I branched out to UPW with Rick Bassman. And at the time, that's when they started running real hot with the developmental and having everybody come in and work the shows. So I was like, man, I got to get on this train, man. So I went and I had my resume. And the guy booking at the time was Brett Wagner, who's known as the Big Schwag. And I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he's an actor. So he was booking, and he was more a wrestling fan than anything else. And I remember sneaking backstage at the Galaxy where UPW used to run all their hot shows, and I snuck backstage, and I seen Rick Bassman, but he didn't have enough time, for me. So he told me to talk to Big Schwag. So I went up to him and everything, and not registering. It's the Big Schwag. I went up and say, "Hey, Big Schwank, how you doing? I'm Marty." And he kind of gave me this look like he was going to kill me. And I said, "Here's my resume." So he kind of got it, he looked at it, he folded it up, and he put it in his pocket. And I said, "Hey, man," I said, "I'm a referee." I said, I want to come in and check it out and see if I can get an opportunity. He goes, "Well, there's nothing here on these shows, but show up Saturday at our light shows and, I'll take a look at you." All right. So that Saturday I went, I showed up, and he gave me 2 matches. I don't know what it is, people give me 2 matches. So I got 2 matches, and one of the matches that I had was John Cena was working out his match with the real Damian Steele with Sadis as his manager for a WWF tryout that John was going to have in the next 2 weeks. So I got to work with the early John Cena doing the prototype gimmick and everything else against Damian Steele. So that was cool. So my first UPW tryout, so to speak, was with Cena. And
not bad.
No, and Lord knows, that we got to do some other stuff on pay-per-view, and WWE got to work together too and everything. So, it was great. John and I would have conversations all the time talking about stuff like that, but it was cool. So then I started doing more and more stuff, and then Brett, the Big Schwank, actually started phasing himself out because he wanted to focus on acting. So he started phasing himself out. So then Bassman asked me if I wouldn't mind taking the reins and booking the UPW light shows. So I said, "Sure, man." So I started booking those shows, and we started having some real good success. We were running at the LA Boxing in Huntington Beach, and we were doing real well. I mean, he would charge like $5, $10, and we were doing real good. And then he moved to the LA Raw Center in El Segundo. But prior to that, Bassman liked what I was doing, and at the time he had a couple other gentlemen who were his writers and stuff for the Galaxy shows. And I started pitching ideas. I said, "Look," I said, "I'm pitching these ideas, and I got this stuff that I'm doing at the light shows." I said, "And here's some ideas I have for this." So he started, he started listening to me. And then one of the guys, wanted to go to Hollywood and become a writer. I don't know what it is, guys wanted to go to Hollywood and be successful. So the guy says, "Hey, you want to try this?" And I said, "Sure." So one of the guys who was writing for him was a guy by the name of Kevin Quinn out of Chicago. He's the guy who actually trained Christopher Daniels. So Kevin was awesome, man. He was real good. It's unfortunate he never got his shot, but he was doing it, and he was going back to Chicago. So Bassman needed somebody to step in. So they called me and asked me, some ideas, and they asked me what I thought about booking and this and that. So I started telling them and everything. Then they asked me to send some examples in. So I emailed them. And then lo and behold, about a week later, they called me up and told me that I was the new booker and writer for UPW. So I booked UPW and wrote the shows the whole time that they were hot with WWE. When Triple H came in and did the thing, and Samoa Joe wrestled Tommy Dreamer, Legion of Doom wrestled Hardcore Inc. with the Hardcore Kid. So I was there for all that and wrote all that stuff and booked John Cena and a bunch of other folks at that time and everything. So Samoa Joe too. So it's cool how all this stuff comes full circle, and like nobody really knows that I was the booker at UPW during that whole time. So.
Well, it's not always glamorous, even though people think it is.
No, man. I paid my dues, man, and I was refereeing at that time and doing the light shows, and then I was booking, the whole stuff for Rick Bassman. But at the time, Bassman was in contact with WWE, and I remember when Jim Ross and all these guys would come through and everything, and I would talk to them constantly, trying to pick their brain about what I needed to do and stuff. And of course, nobody really wants to look at a referee, but getting to your question earlier about how I made it to WWE, I just started becoming a real major pain in the ass. What I mean by that is a squeaky wheel always gets heard first. So what I did is I started sending emails. I mean, literally, I would send emails every day to just various people in the office, and I would call people and I would leave them voicemails daily. And I started sending tapes once a week to WCW, to ECW, to WWF. I mean, I just literally just started being my own promotion machine and would send this stuff out all the time. And mind you, this is right when email and everything was really, really starting to, go. That's why I still have an AOL account, because I'm old school, man. So I just started doing that, and I really became a pain in the ass to people. And then finally, when things started changing at WWE and everything, I I got a hold of Tommy Dreamer, who at that point was taking over some stuff and everything. And then Nova was there, Mike Bucci was there. And, this is when Jim Ross was still there, but then Laurinaitis was actually starting to take over. So it got to the point where I was calling John Laurinaitis 10 times a week, and I was emailing him. I would email him 3 times a day. So it got to the point where John Laurinaitis called me one time, and he says, "Marty, God damn it, we know who you are. Stop it."
Tell him there's one way to make you stop. Give you a job.
Yeah.
So I, did that, but, okay. So what I did is instead of sending 10 emails, I sent 5, but I just started doing that. And then, I would just harp everybody. But in between all that, I was working with just different people and different stuff, like I did, remember WWA Wrestling Alliance that Jeff Jarrett ran before TNA?
Yeah.
Well, I actually worked for them. I worked for Jeff Jarrett at the Aladdin. They had a show there, and I actually got to work the main event. It was Jeff Jarrett versus Brian Christopher. And, of course, I took a bump there, a big bump, big super kick to the jaw. Eddie Guerrero was actually on that show. Road Dogg was on that show. Macho Man was supposed to be there, but he no-showed. That's when Bret Hart came in and cut that huge promo. And, so I was doing a lot of this stuff in between. And in between that, I actually went to Japan, and I worked for 01 Hashimoto. And, the way I got to go to Japan was I remember going, and the guy who was booking at the time was Nakamura. And he was looking for 3 Gaijin wrestlers to go. And I went because I said, look, I want to go just to help out, because that's always my thing. I always just want to help out and just, if I'm needed or if I can be of any help, I want to do that because I just want to see everybody succeed. I want to see everybody win, because if anybody's doing anything in wrestling, they're getting paid for it, then we're winning. So I said, look, this is what I want to do. So Bassman let me go to the tryouts and stuff, and I went. And we started around 4:30 in the afternoon and finished around 9:30. So it was like 5 hours nonstop. I was in the ring. I didn't take a break to get water, to get nothing. They would ask certain guys to go in and this and that. Nakamura wanted to see this guy, that guy. So all these guys were working 5 hours straight, man. And I'm like beat at the end of the night. And I'm standing there and I'm finally taking some water and kind of cooling down and going, I'm going to die. So Nakamura calls me over. He goes, Martyson, come. I went, okay. So I walk over and he goes, I like you work. And I go, what? He goes, what he told me, he goes, I like the fact that you worked the whole time. You didn't get any water. You worked hard every single match that was there. You worked for 5 hours straight without a break. He goes, I'm bringing you to Japan. And I went, oh my God, is this really happening? So he had picked his 2 guys that he wanted for Japan. So the 3rd guy ended up being yours truly, the referee, instead of taking another Gaijin wrestler guy. So it was 2 guys. Bassman wasn't too happy about it, but Nakamura wasn't going to change his mind. And that's how I got to go to Japan. And it was great, man. I got to go over there, worked with the great Hashimoto, Fujiwara, Dick Togo, Tanaka, and especially Otani, man. Otani is the man, dude. He is the man. And it was great, man, being over there with Otani. And this is something that I'm getting goosebumps here. It's working with Otani, dude. He took a liking to me for some reason, and he requested that I be his referee for his matches in Japan when I was there, dude. So I mean,
that's huge. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, man, and it was so cool. But here's an even cooler story: is that when I first got to WWE, my first, I want to say 2 or 3 months there, I was in the locker room and I was at a SmackDown taping, and I was getting dressed. And Matt Hardy kind of knew me because he had worked with UPW and stuff. So he was kind of asking me questions about who trained me and this and that. How did I get in and stuff, and where have I worked? And Chris Benoit was actually sitting to the left of me getting dressed. So I'm getting dressed and Matt's asking me this. So I told Matt, I said, yeah, I worked in Japan. And Benoit his ears went up, kind of went like, Japan? I go, yeah. He's like, who'd you work for? I said, 01. Yeah, who'd you work with? And I started naming people off like I did just now. And then I said, and Otani. And he goes, you work with Otani? I go, yeah. He goes, I love that guy. Oh, yeah, me too, man. He's a great dude. So we started talking Otani and stuff and everything. And I kid you not, man, it's like I had his respect from there on. You know, that all the other referees, I mean, you know, they used to be brutal to guys, whatever. But I literally, and I know this for a fact, that I gained Chris Benoit's respect because of the fact that I've been over to Japan and worked with Otani and Hashimoto and all these guys. And it was separate of WWE. I went and I did it on my own. And that's the thing that I pride myself on, is that I went to Japan on my own, minus WWE, before WWE. I've been to Mexico and all this other on my own, minus WWE. I did go to Japan and Mexico and all that with WWE, but prior to that, I went on my own. And that's the thing that I pride myself on, being a referee, that I went and did that without WWE. So,
well, you're self-made at that point. I mean, we were kind of chatting about some of this stuff earlier. Like, you have to be self-made, or you're a mark. I mean, if you don't go out there and work for it and do your own thing and put your foot down on some stuff and insert yourself into the situation and say, look, I'm here, I'm for real about this, I'm doing the work on my own. You know, if I get a handout, sure, I'm going to take it. But at the same time, I'm going to keep working even if you don't give it to me. That always has resonated with people in the business and in other businesses too. You know, in my line of work, it's the same thing. Like, if you go out there and you're your own man and you do your thing, people are going to respect it. And that's how you're going to not only get somewhere, but once you've gotten there, people are going to know that you're the real deal. You're the genuine article. It's not BS, that you're there for a reason. And especially from other guys who had to work hard to get there, that's how you're going to get respect.
yeah, amen. And you know, the thing with me, I'm humbled and I'm so grateful for the opportunities that I've had and everything. But along the lines, man, I've really worked hard. And what I mean by that is, you know, wrestling can be a son of a bitch, and it's damaged a lot of relationships that I've had, whether it be with family or my wife or my daughter or just everything in general. But you know what? That's how passionate I was about wrestling, and still am to a certain extent. But now, as I get older, you know, family's number one for me. My wife, I adore her to death, and I thank her every day for sticking with me, because, you know, Lord knows she could have bailed out a long time ago. But working as hard as I did and achieving the success that I've had thus far, you know, I'm grateful for it. When I was at WWE, I think my head got a little too big, and I had an ego because I'd worked so hard, and it was about proving people wrong and showing people that I could do it, which I did. And I honestly think, and I'll tell you guys, I think my run at WWE was too much too soon, and I didn't deserve it. You know, I should have approached it differently, but who's to say, you know, that I won't be back there someday. But right now I'm focused on Lucha Underground and loving Lucha Underground, and that's my loyalty and what I'm doing. But
I don't know if I agree with that, Marty, because I was listening to an interview that Shawn Michaels did the other day, and he was talking about how he was cocky past where he should have been. You know, and in his mind, back in those big glory days, he had no doubt in his mind that he was the thing. And he's way more humble as a person now and way more understanding of the gift that he was given. But at the same time, I almost feel like when you have that run, when you have that moment in WWE, you almost want to be blind. You almost want to be that cocksure of yourself, just to get in there and brazenly in front of thousands and thousands of people and millions around the world, just go in there and do it because you love it and you know you're good at it.
Oh, I was, you know, and to a certain extent, I'm still that way. But, you know, I'm a lot more humbler about it, if that makes sense, if that's a word, you know, because, I mean, when I went in there, man, I worked hard, and it was, you know, pedal to the metal. And you know what? Even to this day, you know, like I told somebody the other day, when I get in the ring today, and even a little bit with WWE and stuff, especially after WrestleMania with Taker and stuff, and this is not trying to compare myself with HBK or Shawn Michaels and this and that, but being around him so much and him elevating me as a referee and as a person to get me to that level, in the level that I'm at right now, is that my confidence is that when I go into a match, that I'm the Shawn Michaels of referees. And that's just confidence. It's going in there knowing that I'm that good, and I've worked so hard to be that good, and there's nobody better than me. Because I tell a lot of younger referees today, you need to have that confidence. You need to have that, you know, yeah, me, attitude, because if you don't, if you're not thinking that way, then nobody else is going to think that way for you. So, I go in with that kind of gusto, and it's not ego, it's not confidence or trying to brag and everything. But when I go into a match as a referee, I am the Shawn Michaels of referees, no doubt about it. Nobody better.
And it
Well, it's hard to argue
helps
that
with the
anyway.
audience because you're the one keeping everyone in line. So we see
Yeah.
that from you. We know to respect the fucking stripes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That for 2017, that's my goal, and I'm always goal oriented, and I'm always running the wheels and thinking ahead. Is that February 18th, I'm having my first referee seminar with the Santino brothers.
Right on.
And
Nice.
And my goal there is to train referees properly. A lot of the wrestling schools, a lot of promoters don't have referees who are training referees. They have workers training referees. And for me, nothing against workers and nothing against guys who are training. It's just that there's a different perspective from being a worker to being a referee. And there's a bigger difference if you're a seasoned referee and a experienced referee on TV and who's been there and done that. And not to say I've been there, done that, because there's still a whole bunch more to come. But I want to make sure that guys are getting the proper training, that they know how to work, they know how to position, and they know what it takes to get there. And it's not only counting 1, 2, 3. There's so much more that referees do behind the scenes. And that's the big stigma that I want to take away in 2017. And that's why I decided to start doing interviews too, because I never did interviews in the past. I wouldn't say anything or talk to anybody because I just didn't do it. So I said, I want to take that stigma away. I want people to know that referees are so much more, and they're so vital to what the business is and the matches in general, that behind the scenes, we're in production meetings, we're ring crew, we're production, we're all of the above, man. So for people to take us for granted, sometimes it's a little bit insulting, but I get it. It's part of the gig. I know that promoters don't want to pay a good referee like myself or Jack Dunn, who's sitting at home, or Jimmy Corderas, who's in Canada and stuff. I know guys don't want to bring in guys of our stature and pay us or fly us in, because it's cheaper to get a student or get somebody from the front row, put a striped shirt on and say, hey, kid, count to 3.
Right.
That's the stigma. But Marty Elias in 2017 is going to change that.
Well, see, that's what I love to hear. What are you saying, Byron?
Yeah. Well, to your point, referees don't get the recognition that that everyone else involved in the match and in the show get.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's true, especially in Lucha Underground for Marty. I mean, I think
Lucha Underground is a different story, but I'm saying, we talk about the wrestling industry and the indies coming up and places where people could work, but we don't really talk about. No one really looks at the market for referees. When you train to be a referee and you take pride in what you do, when you become really good, who's going to pay for that?
Nobody's paying for it, and that's what I want to change, man. You got everybody going into the wrestle cons and wrestle reunions and all this stuff and everything, and they bring in names, they bring in people and everything, but nobody's bringing in a referee. I mean, sure, they'll bring in Earl and stuff of that nature and everything, but Earl's deserve it, man. He earned that. But at the same time,
well, he also got one of the craziest angles ever with the twins and all that crap.
Absolutely.
I mean, you get a good angle, or
surgery, brother.
You get turned into little Nate and get the rub from Ric Flair, it becomes a whole different story all of a sudden. But you seem to be elevating to that level without necessarily being involved in one of these huge angles.
Yeah, and I thank God, because it's my work, and that's the thing that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to work hard. I always wanted to be the best at what I did, and that's me in my personal life too. I want my work to speak for itself. I don't want people to generally say, "Oh man, Marty, he was great in that match," but not remember the match or who was in it. Because me as a referee, and what I'll tell other referees, up and coming guys or whatever, people who aspire to be a referee, is that a good referee is being there but not being there.
Well, okay, so speaking of remembering the match, I do have to talk about WrestleMania 25. We're talking the streak is intact. He's 16-0. Michaels is the best chance ever as far as we know to take down the streak. It's Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. Marty Elias gets the call.
Justin, Justin, you sound like you were going into this match rooting for Shawn Michaels, and I got to call you on this. As the biggest Undertaker fan on this podcast, you are not rooting for Shawn Michaels because Undertaker's my favorite wrestler of all time. I have a little bit of shit there.
I love Taker, man. I love Taker. He's awesome, dude. Such a good dude, man. Such a good dude.
You have to admit, Casey, there was exactly. You were scared the streak was going to end. The hype was real, tangible. You could feel it, man. It was like Shawn Michaels is walking around tombstones that say 16-1. He's the dude who's going to put Taker in the ground and do this thing finally. And here's the crazy thing. I want to get to the actual match because me and you could debate the hype behind it all day long, Casey. But here's poor Marty. They're going to do a spot with Taker flying out of the freaking ring. And I thought, oh my God, Marty Elias is about to die. And instead, this poor cameraman who's out there, Marty gets thrown into the barricade. You took a nice bump there. I think Sean was the one who threw you out of the way. But
literally threw me out of the way.
No, I mean, I saw it, and it was just like, oh, damn, the ref is dead. And then it was like, oh, damn, the cameraman is really, really dead. Like, that spot was one of those moments at a WrestleMania where it was like, I was not expecting any of it. They threw a cameraman in there. I don't know if that had quite been done that way before, but I mean, the camera's taking, a ring dive from Tate. What the fuck? That was craziness. Craziness. Okay. You got to tell us from your point of view because you literally had the best seat in the house for one of the greatest spots of all time.
On that dive, by the way, I thought.
Well, how's a cameraman gonna help him out? The cameraman's holding the thing. I don't care if it was a plant or what. The guy's holding.
It was Domino, but
Okay, case Fabe, take it easy.
Okay, I will. Sorry.
It's so cool to hear you guys debate and go back and stuff and everything because that match was so amazing. But here's the thing, man. I didn't know going into that match, nor did Shawn or Taker, that the match was going to become what it's become. And Shawn and Taker being the greats that they are, man, those guys are amazing, man. And look, I'm getting goosebumps again. So going to that match, and it turned out to be the greatest match in WrestleMania history by, whoever's saying that. But nobody went in with the intention to say, hey, you know what? Shawn and Taker went, we're going to make sure this is the greatest match in history. I mean, it wasn't even about that. It was, the light and the dark and those guys going in and being the performers that they are and going in there. I just happened to be the lucky slob that was picked to be the referee for that. But I will say this, and I apologize to Charles Robinson sincerely all the time. Charles originally had that match.
Oh, I'm so sorry for little Nate.
He originally had that match, and the way that I got the match is that Shawn and I became friends, and we talked and everything. And one of my goals in wrestling was to work WrestleMania with Mr. WrestleMania himself. And casually one time I had mentioned to him, I said, the reason I got in is because of you and some other stuff, Flair, whatever. I said, but being is who you are and the persona and everything else, I go, my goal is to eventually work a WrestleMania with you. And I know that those opportunities are going to be smaller and smaller now because at that time he started talking about retirement and stuff. So I knew the window was closing. So I threw it out there, not knowing what was going to happen. And Shawn, we were on a flight one time. And I'd mentioned it to him, and he turns to me and he says, well, let's see if we can work on that. And that was it. My battery's running low. Let me get my plug in here real quick. Hold on, guys.
No worries.
Hold on 1 second.
We have a couple questions in the chat room as well.
Ooh,
after we get plugged in.
The chat room's heating up. I don't know, Casey, like you were I don't know that I was really cheering for Shawn, but I gotta say, when he first started putting on the white hat and like doing the light versus the dark thing,
Justin, he was mocking the dead man.
I know, but that's what I liked about it. It was brash. It was absurd too. Like at first, when the gimmick started, when the angle started, I was like, yeah, Shawn Michaels. There's no way he's gonna beat Undertaker. But man, the way they kept hyping it and rolling into it was like, no. Really, Shawn could do this, and he was getting the push, and it was feeling pretty tangible, man. That like, okay, if anyone's gonna do it, why not have it be Michaels?
And
I wasn't
watched
thinking
it
to myself there'd be a Brock Lesnar to come along later and take care of it.
Okay, sorry guys. I apologize for that.
No worries.
Okay, yeah. So
Casey's feelings over here about the Shawn Michaels versus
And
Taker
I'm telling
thing.
Justin, like I tell him every week on this show, that Brock didn't break the streak. It's an asterisk now. So Taker got it back. I'm giving it to him officially.
Look, there was no wellness violation at that time.
Retroactively DQ'd.
Oh, you can't do that, man. The streak is not intact anymore. I'm sorry. And it
Legitimate
wasn't
streak.
Shawn. It was Brock. It's just how it goes, man. It's just how it goes.
I would have
we have
rather Sean.
Hey,
We have a couple questions.
we have a couple
from
questions,
the
Marty,
chat
and then I
room.
do want to talk some lucha about with you too. But go for it, Brian. We got questions from our chat room here.
sure.
Yeah. So two questions. The first one is from Andre Nichols, and he wants to know what the worst bump you've ever taken in your career has been.
The worst bump that I ever took, it was on the Independence, and it was actually with Adam Pearce and the Human Tornado at a AWS show in 2004, 2003. The spot called for Human Tornado to dive out of the cage. I was the outside referee, and I didn't have any spots. All I had to do was open and close the door. So he had a manager who I'll leave nameless because it was his fault. So the manager was supposed to take the bump. And when it came time for the bump and Human Tornado to dive out and stuff and everything else, well, manager guy decides to duck. And I'm not ready for the bump. I'm not ready for anything because I'm just there to hold the door. Manager guy ducks down. Tornado comes and hits me and kills me pretty much. And I had a stinger for 3 minutes where I had no movement and I was unable. I was paralyzed literally for 3 minutes. I had a stinger. And
Oh my God.
yeah, so that was probably the worst injury that I've ever had. My wife went ballistic because she never goes to the shows or whatever. She's been there, done that. The only
But
show
she was at that one.
she was at that one, unfortunately, and she was losing her mind. And I wanted to be the worker guy, whatever, and showing how tough I was. I didn't go see a doctor or nothing like that until I couldn't move about 4 days later. So I went and come to find out that it was a cervical sprain and my spinal cord was bruised.
Jeez.
And
that's no laughing matter at all, Marty.
No. And to this day, my motion as far as moving to my left and everything is very, very limited. So you'll never see me doing this because it's pretty much, it's there. I like this. I can do this, okay.
Yeah.
But as far as going here, that's as far as I can go, and that's a shoot, guys, right there.
So if I ever work a match, then basically, if I cheat, I need to be on your left side.
Absolutely.
Noted.
That's when the brass knuckles come in, guys. We got this plan down.
Hey,
Funny.
so
Yeah.
Thanks for the question, and that's the worst injury I've ever had.
I have seen that. I don't remember if I was at the show or not because I used to go to AWS shows all the time. But I've definitely seen that, and I know the manager you're talking about.
Okay.
Casey, DM me later. We'll go beat him up.
You won't know who he is.
Well, I'll help you.
So what was the other?
Second question, which is from Wrestling Central. I don't know if that's his Christian name or not. Wants to know what your favorite Lucha Underground match to ref is at this point of airing. No spoilers.
The triad against Pentagon in the Gauntlet match.
Nice.
Amazing. Those girls are just incredible. I was so blessed to finally get the opportunity to work with those girls from Stardom, especially EO. Oh my God, man, you talk about off the hook, dude, and just loving that match and just like, oh my God, this is actually happening. I'm working with them and just the chemistry that they had with Pentagon, and everybody was on fire, man, and everybody just brought their game, dude. And just to work with them was just off the hook. And then I'd probably say my second best favorite match is anything with Johnny Mundo.
All right, solid. Now, me and Casey were at the Black Lotus Triad versus Pentagon matches, and Casey is a very, 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 very big Pentagon mark.
We all are.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, like I'm a Pentagon mark, but Casey is like the Pentagon mark. And
I'm the one who always brings the signs. That's it. Ultima Luchas. That's a good
Yeah,
one.
me too.
so I was
Yeah,
a
and
bit
Brian.
afraid when that whole thing started, like, oh man, Casey's gonna sit here and watch this. But dude, seeing him and sitting next to him and watching those women earn his respect as they're whooping on his dude,
Oh,
like
dude,
just took it
they
to
had
another level. And Jimmy
Kiri
Fallon-
Hojo. Kiri Hojo is my vote for the greatest elbow in the wrestling business of all time. With apologies to Shawn Michaels and Macho Man, her flying elbow is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
Yeah, and you know, it was so cool when they came in, man. It was awesome, you know, because they literally just came in and just were just excited to be there, man. I mean, they were really excited to be there, and I would like to say that it was awesome because we, and when I say we, it was me and Krista Joseph and a couple other people who went to go see them at a Stardom show. And like the October before, that was in April, we did that. In October, we went to go see them at a Stardom show out here, man. And me and DeJoseph were just like, man, we got to see her. We got to see her. And they were just phenomenal. And then the next night, they had a day off, and we had a El Rey network function thing. And I told Eric Van Wagen, I said, dude, you got to come to the Stardom show. You got to see these girls. And luckily Eric agreed, man. And me and EV-Dub went to the Stardom show on that Sunday. He got to see her, and there's where we actually found Thunder Rosa too, who is now Cobra Moon. And you know, they started the negotiations and stuff and everything, and we were able to bring them in, man. And it was amazing to see, you know, that we had seen them at these shows, and you know, we got them on the show, and they're some characters a part of the show now. And you know, it's going to be cool when we can reveal some other stuff. I'll just say that.
Exactly.
Ooh,
I like how you did that. And
I'm really hoping that we get to see them again. What I find interesting, I was not at the show. Whenever I miss a taping, I get text saying it was awesome, and then I feel really bad for like 2 weeks. And it was amazing. I was in New York, I believe, either New York or Florida, across the country.
You were in New York.
I still felt the buzz and electricity from the live taping that these three wrestlers who are from Japan, who are not on American TV, somehow they show up. Everyone not only knows who they are, but they are so pumped up. It was
freaking amazing too, because we had all heard they had just worked in Vegas. They were running around everywhere. They roll into Lucha, and we're all like, oh, they might be tired, they might be beat up. You know, they're on the road, they're doing the thing. You know, and this isn't their first show, so they're gonna come in here, and it's gonna be whatever. And no, dude, I mean, and it was crazy. And you know how Lucha Underground rolls. We don't mess with our phones when we're in there. So when we all come out, you probably had like 60 people blowing you up like, Byron, you missed the best shit ever. You know, you just totally, you stepped in it, dude. You should have been there that weekend. That was very.
I felt really bad. I almost broke up with my girlfriend and got on a plane.
Hey guys, I'm gonna break a little bit of news, and this is probably news to you too, Marty, or maybe it's not. I don't know, but we'll see what you guys think about this, because I have some very credible information from a very reliable source that won't be named, but believe me, this source is very reliable.
Do I know him?
You might. That's all I'll say. That the Netflix deal is in fact being finalized. Okay, and you can quote that the Netflix deal is being finalized, but the timetable that has been reported publicly by certain individuals, one individual, is not in fact correct. And there are some very good and logical reasons for that incorrectness that I'm going to put it out there now just to correct it. And look, I'm not a reporter, I'm not a news source, but I am journalistic in the fact that before I report something, I'm going to find out the real information, guys. I'm not just going to, I hear stuff constantly. I hear stuff all the time. Some of it, you'll hear me expound on stuff on this show as part of a diatribe or a rant or a hot take or whatever you want to say, and I'll give you my feelings on it. I will editorialize, but that doesn't mean I'm reporting, okay? out there for everyone. If you're going to report something as a reporter and be journalistic about something, you got to have sources, and you got to make sure they're reliable. You don't have to quote your sources. You don't have to tell anybody your sources, but you can't say something and represent a product or something that's out there if you don't know the real facts. So let me give you guys a little bit of the real facts that I'm getting from the real people, from the reliable sources. And no, I'm not going to give you my sources, because then everyone doesn't get the same damn information, and they can go screw. They can get it themselves. That's not how it works at all. Because people are DMing me all the time, like, "Oh, where'd you go?" Like, don't worry about it, man. I'll tell you, and if I know it's real, I'll say it's real, and if I don't know it's real, I'll give you my opinion on it, and I won't say it's real. I'll say this is what I think based on the information that I have. And I'm editorializing. I like to editorialize. I don't want to be a reporter or a journalist. But in this particular instance, the whole interwebs has gone crazy about a certain thing, which is this Netflix deal and this date. And I will say that a lot of the information that went out there looks very credible, very accurate. There is a Netflix deal. It's been being worked on for a while. It's going to happen. I mean, I think EV-Dub even tweeted it out like, hey, you might want to get Netflix. So yeah, it looks good. Netflix deal looks good. That makes all of us Lucha Underground fans very happy, especially the ones of us that know the product and love it. We're happier than everyone else, because now we can tell our friends, hey, go watch this and this episode and check this out. And that's going to get the new fans in there. The other people who don't know, and the casual fans, they don't know how great a deal this Netflix thing is going to be. We do, because we've seen it and we're like, we want to share it. We want to have an easy way to share it, and getting someone to buy it on iTunes as much as they should buy it on iTunes isn't necessarily the easiest way to do it, but to go on Netflix and check it out, pretty easy. But anyway, so the reason why the February 15th reported is not necessarily true is because to meet Netflix standards, a lot of things have to happen. It wasn't on Netflix's official release for February, and there's reasons for that, because you've got season 1 with 40 episodes that are in English and Spanish. You got season 2 with 26 episodes that are in English only, okay? And to meet Netflix standards, you got over 100 hours of material that have to be delivered. They have to be dubbed, closed captioned, and all the things that have to happen to these episodes per Netflix specifications. It's very purely at this point, if no other reason, a technical issue. And I even had Netflix Canada tweet at me and Lucha Blog that the February 15th was going to happen. And then they pulled their tweet down, because I think they got word that like, hey, bro, we don't know if that's going to make it. And that's why it wasn't on Netflix's official list, this past week. So that's the news, guys. And it's not even a big news. The simple fact of the matter is, yay, hooray. We're all happy. There is a Netflix deal, but don't jump when that Netflix deal is happening, because the people who are making the damn videos don't even know what day that's happening yet, and will say as soon as they know.
Yeah, and I want
that's my rant.
Yeah, and if people think you're blowing smoke up their ass about the technical thing, I say to them, watch Daredevil. Watch it all the way through the credits and see the 10 different languages the fucking credits are in. And then
pre-existing shows, when they come up on Netflix, if you watch them now, there's an extra 2 or 3 minutes at the end of all the again after it went on Netflix. You got the French dubbing, you got the German dubbing, you got the guys who did this and this and this. Like, there's extra credits that are added to shows because of all the stuff that has to get done. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure that everybody at Lucha and MGM and whoever's taking care of it is busting their butt to get it up as soon as they possibly can, especially during the hiatus, and get the hype going on. And we all know how great a thing this is going to be. At the same time, man, there's certain things that have to happen. And it's just that, and there's credible sources that are saying that, look, guys, we would love to hit that date, but that's not our date. That's just a date, and maybe that date happens, maybe that date doesn't happen. They don't know. So I don't know. What do you guys can tell me what you think. I mean, Marty, does it irritate you when stuff comes out about the product that you're involved with that may or may not be accurate, and then all of a sudden it's reported like it's actually news?
Yeah, take all that stuff with a grain of salt, man, because, one of the things, that I always tell my daughter or my wife or people in general that I'm talking to, you always got to know your audience. You got to know your source, so if there's credibility there, if there isn't any credibility, it's your source, and, you got to understand your audience and who's giving you the information. So for me, I take that stuff with a grain of salt. People are going to report what they want to report. That's the internet. And of course, we all know that the internet is Bible and it's law, so to speak.
I mean, it's already on the Wikipedia page.
Of course it is.
It's on the Wikipedia page today that Netflix is going to have Lucha Underground on February 15th. Oh, yeah, and Netflix is going to buy Lucha Underground too, guys.
Of course. No, and the rumors that come with all this stuff, and people jumping the gun and assuming, that they know Lucha Underground or they know the happenings and what's really going on. It's just something that I just kind of take with a grain of salt, and just if they know, they know. If they don't, then they don't. But I don't believe anything until I see a press release from the El Rey Network or from Lucha Underground itself. And even if I do know, I'm not going to post anything until it's official, until they've actually made their stuff. Do I know certain things? Absolutely. Am I going to tell people? Hell no.
I mean, and there's a certain way, I think, to go about it too. Like Lucha Underground this week put up a date on the banner of the Lucha Underground page. Yes. Now, I feel like I'm pretty sure I know what that date is, but what I put up when I retweeted it and put was, hey, look, Lucha Underground changed their banner today. I'm really stoked about this. That's what I said. I didn't say this is when episodes are coming back. I didn't say anything of the kind because it doesn't say that. Now, later I saw a DJ tweet out to somebody who asked directly, hey, when's Lucha Underground coming back? And he posted that exact same date. So, hey, there's a little bit of a confirmation. A credible guy in the know, co-executive producer on the show, has typed onto the interwebs that number as well, which is like, okay, now we got two things here. We got this banner up on Lucha's page, and we got one of the bosses who's thrown out this number also. So, hey, that's most likely accurate. That most likely is the date that Lucha Underground is returning with the second half of season 3. That's now credible information, guys. But this other thing, I don't know where the number came from. I don't know where that date came from. Maybe it was accurate at some point. Maybe there was a little bit of credible information or whatnot, but I just found it amazing that it became a news source, like that one person said something without citing that they even had a source. And all of a sudden it was on Uproxx and it's on this and that.
It's a shame because you see that enthusiasm that people have for the product. They want it, and they want it to be represented really well. Everyone's wanted Netflix for Lucha Underground forever. And to me, it's a shame because it's like that first impression. You only get one chance to make the first impression. And now for a lot of people, they think February 15th, they're going to see Lucha Underground on Netflix. And it's probably not going to happen that day. And then they're going to think, oh, well, the sky's falling.
Well, maybe people will try to make it happen that now, but it's like retroactive. I don't know. I statement about all of this in the next couple of weeks, as soon as everybody knows what date is achievable and reachable for a lot of things. And I think that there'll be exciting information coming from Dorian and the LOC Libre FMV guys. I think they're going to have some information coming out. I think, that MGM and El Rey Network will have some information coming out about the return of the season. I think that there'll be some information about the Netflix deal. Maybe maybe they're planning some big release of this information. Maybe they're not. Maybe they'll trickle out, but at the same time, it's not like these guys don't want to make money, people. Like, it's not like they don't want people to love the product and to be excited. And believe me, they will take every opportunity they can to get all of us as excited as we can possibly be. Don't doubt that for a second. But at the same time, they don't want you to get you excited about something that isn't a guarantee, that isn't for sure going to happen, or that isn't in their control. And there's also ways that deals work, man. Deals have to be announced certain ways. There's PR standards to a press release about upcoming marketing. It's just that simple. You can't just willy-nilly say, okay, because we think we're going to do this, let's report, tell everyone. It doesn't work that way.
No, no. And you're absolutely right. There's legalities to it, and there's other stuff that really goes on behind the scenes that I don't think sources even know. And for me, the biggest question is that the source who released the information, does that source even work for Lucha Underground?
Well, it certainly sounds like it now from the way it was re-reported by everybody else. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but here's my take real quick, and just to,
and we can move on after that. Go for it.
Yeah, I'll just say this, and I'm sure that Eric Van Wagen, EB-Dub, would actually, if he was on this right now, he would say the same thing. And people need to understand that Lucha Underground is a TV show. First and foremost, it's a TV show. It's episodes and it's seasons. It's not a wrestling promotion. It was never ever, mentioned that this was going to be a promotion. What happened is that Lucha Underground was brought to TV. We brought the product. People went goo goo gaga over it. People love it, which is amazing, and it took off, unbeknownst to the people who were producing it or behind it. And this thing just caught fire. These people, the corporates, the conglomerates, everything else, didn't know that this was going to take off the way it did. And being that it's TV people and such and everything, TV has seasons, so there's breaks and there's things that need to happen in TV. Whereas if you're a wrestling promotion, let's say WWE, you go off of live events. Your TV is second nature. And I lived in WWE. I know that that's the way it works. This is a TV show on the El Rey Network that's produced by MGM, factory made and such and everything. The decisions that are being made to cut mid-season, this and that and everything, those are all TV things that happen in TV every single day. And people need to understand that. It's not something that they just want to pull the product and take it away from everybody and, oh my God, Lucha's in a financial gridlock, this and that. That's not the case. This is TV. And this is what they do in TV every single day. And I'm going to reiterate that with that being said, this was a product that took off and they were like, whoa, hold on. This is something that's, catching fire. Let's take a step back. Let's see what we need to do. Let's restructure. Let's reorganize. If we're going to do this with Lucha Underground, let's do it the right way. Let's have things in place where this thing is going to take off and be successful, and it's going to be controllable. And that goes with TV, that goes with merchandising, that goes with deals, that goes with everything else. It's not that Lucha Underground is going away. This is a TV show that is, a wrestling promotion. So people need to look at it that way and not look at it the other way, that it's a promotion and we need to be out on tour. We need to be doing all that. So with that being said, people hold tight. Lucha Underground isn't going anywhere. Just hang on tight because 2017 is going to kick ass.
I believe it. And I'm so happy to hear you say that too. It's like, we've been kind of saying that and echoing that feeling for a few weeks now on this show. And people are taking notice of it like it's something special, but it's like, no, guys, this is just TV because, Byron and I are TV producers also. So we understand some of this stuff. And to us, it's like, oh yeah, I get what's going on. Like, look at The Walking Dead. The first time they took a mid-season hiatus, Walking Dead fans freaked the F out. Nobody had a clue what was going on. It was like, what do you mean? I got to wait 4 months to see the rest of this season. But it's commonplace. It was like, no, the marketing is in place. We're going to take a break. No one watches TV during Christmas and this, that, and the other thing. So they had a reason. And look, The Walking Dead is still the #1 show on TV. It's not now people expect it. And now Walking Dead, which just like Lucha Underground in a certain way, not as big, but The Walking Dead
soon.
Yeah, but The Walking Dead took off a certain way that was unexpected, I think, to them. And it was like, wow, let's get our ducks in a row. They moved around some showrunners, they changed some creative, they changed some cast, they did some things that eventually the #1 show, and Lucha Underground is still in its infancy in a lot of ways. And none of this stuff is secrets either. Like the stuff that we've heard EB-Dub talking about forever of trying to do 40 episodes a year, trying to make the schedule work and not be in that temple in the summer and this, that, and the other thing. Like he's been saying this stuff for a long time. And a lot of other people have been with that fundamentally for a long time as well. So I was surprised that everyone else was surprised. It was like, yeah, it's unfortunate because we're hungry for the product and we're wrestling fans, so we're used to getting it every week. But at the same time, it's like, no, let these guys get their ducks in a row so this thing can come back and last for 12, 13, 14 years and not, fizzle out or kill them trying to make something in an unrealistic fashion. Like the way season 3 came in, and it was so quick, and it was like the turnaround was minuscule, and it was like, and don't get me wrong, I think the season 3 product was phenomenal, but at the same time, it was like, we knew that it was taxing on a lot of people. Like, and there was a lot of stuff that wasn't quite in place on the outskirts. The creative of the show and the talent in the ring was completely in place, but there was a lot of outer workings that needed to be in place, and they weren't in time. And it was like, everyone's just going.
Yeah. So
I for one, look, I'm sad when I turn on my TV on Wednesday and I don't get to see brand new episodes like anybody else. But at the same time, I'm hopeful that it means that the regrouping time that is being allotted is really going to turn some heads with some big things moving forward. That's my piece on it. So, Marty, got to get off the bullshit and let me talk to you about Lucha Underground itself. Is Johnny Mundo trying to kill you? It seems like you get bumped around a lot in his matches. What the hell is going on? Like, do I need to talk to Mr. Morrison? What's up?
It's funny. I have had that conversation with him, and I said, Johnny, why is it that whenever I take a bump, it's in your match? I said, it's always with you, and it was funny. I got a great story. We did South by Southwest when we did that last March, and we were putting the show together, and we were doing our walkthrough and stuff. And I was in a production meeting with DJ and Chris Roach and G.L.O.W and stuff. So they were in the ring putting the match together. And I come walking out, and I catch the tail end. Oh, yeah, and then Marty will take the 619, and then we'll go, and then you guys come up. And I just went like, what was that? He goes, hey, dude, you're going to be taking the 619. And I went, okay, that's Johnny Mundo. But, it's one of the things, that I chuckle at, and of course he beats me up and everything. But here's the thing, and this is going back to being a good referee, working, knowing Johnny trusts me. He's confident in what I do. He knows I'm going to be there, and he knows he doesn't have to worry about some referee messing up a spot that's vital to the match. That's why.
Trustworthiness. I love it.
So you talk about Johnny Mundo, and you talk about him being your favorite match is any match with Johnny Mundo. You've been in a ring with him for over a long time. You've seen him at different stages in his career. I mean, he's at the top of his game right now, right?
Johnny Mundo, and I've had this conversation with him, and I've told numerous people, I'll tell you guys, Johnny Mundo to me is in his prime. I've seen the guy years. I've worked with him for years. I know him personally. I know what he is, and inside and out of the ring. And he is on fire, man. I mean, the guy is at his peak. We're lucky to have him in Lucha Underground. He's not going anywhere. But the guy is just bringing his A game every single time, man. And he is such a joy and pleasure to work with. I'm honored to call him my friend, and to see his success with Lucha Underground, and to see where he's at, outside of the ring as well. I've never seen the guy happier. He's amazing, and he's such a great talent, man. And I just wish him all the best. And, the guy is, at his peak, man. He's in his prime, and it's an honor to be in the ring with him.
Well, so now we know Mundo is super great, and you mentioned Thunder Rosa earlier, who I think is actually going to come on the show next week, hopefully, and chat with us about some Cobra Moon and some Thunder Rosa stuff. But who are the other talents that you've seen kind of emerge in this? Her, she came from she was working a lot, but she came from relative obscurity, and like, who else are you've been surprised by that has just taken this Lucha Underground thing by the horns, like you yourself did, and kind of made something out of themselves?
I like to say Pentagon came from, in Phoenix. These guys are guys who are absolute stars right now. And I remember coming in when they first came in and seeing them and everything, and knowing about them and hearing about them, but not to the extent that we hear about them today. So seeing these guys on fire, man, was just, it was incredible to see where these guys are growing. And, a lot of the Lucha Underground talent, you know, they all bring their A game in, and they all want to be, you know, stars, and they all want to see this product succeed. And all of them in general are just bringing, like I said, and I'm repeating myself, but they're all bringing their A game in, and it's good to see people grow, because some of these people, this is their first time on TV. This is the first time they're actually earning good money and getting the exposure that they've gotten. So to see people get in there and actually elevate their game is so cool. You got the Son of Havocs, you got Angelico, you know, you got God, who else is there? Prince Puma, Ricochet. I mean, to see that guy go, I mean, it's and the guy that I love too, a kid that is just going to be off the hook, man, is Ricky Mandel. Ricky Mandel is, you know, I love that kid, man. You know, the opportunities, you know, that he may or may not get, but, you know, just keep your eye on Ricky Mandel. Of course, Kevin Cross, hopefully, you know, he makes it to TV or whatever, but there's a lot of young, hungry guys out there who are doing great. Cortez Castro, Ricky Reyes, that's another guy who's just bringing it, man. And it's cool to see Paul London in a whole different spectrum too. You know, it's cool. Matt Stryker and Vampiro, what they do on commentary, man. I mean, it's amazing that these guys never worked together doing commentary. Vampiro, for that fact, never even did commentary, man. So now to see him on fire and do what he's doing, it's just great. Another aspect, too, is to see Chavo Guerrero behind the scenes working as a producer and doing the things that he never did, but he's doing here, and he's succeeding at it, and he's doing it in the ring and behind the scenes and everything. So to see all these people come out of their shell, so to speak, and to blossom and to grow, it's so cool, man, to see these guys and girls do their stuff, man.
Now, but I gotta ask this, especially when you like you're talking about Vampiro, for instance. Doesn't necessarily strike me as a guy who was cut out for color commentary from the get-go, but at the same time, it's working and working beautifully. But it feels like it's because he's kind of been let off the leash to a certain extent, and it feels like that with a lot of people in Lucha Underground, like Marty. You know, Marty the Moth comes in and he has this gimmick of being this schlubby guy who's just kind of walking it off the street, but then he runs with it.
Yeah.
And I feel like Vamp is running with it, and Cobra Moon is running with it. Like, is that the beauty of Lucha Underground? It's like, how do you decide to let these people run with it that may be a little bit green, that maybe haven't had TV time? How do you put your trust and faith in somebody who's new to go in there and perform like that?
Well, I mean, I have to throw it to Chris Roach, Krista Joseph, and, you know, Chavo, the producers, Vamp, and these guys, Stryker. It's one of these things, you know, where the ideas are there, and the ideas come organically, if that makes sense. And people are given a certain, you know, vignette, or they're given a certain piece to say, hey, what do you think about this? This is our idea. And DJ sits there all the time. Hey, man, I got this and this idea. Bro, what do you think? And people sit there and go like, yeah, okay, let me try this. And it's getting, like you said, getting that opportunity to go be this character and really indulge and get into that character and become that character. Whereas other places, they're like, okay, you got 2 minutes. I need you to do this. And people go out there like Bobby Brady and the red light and just like freeze, where they're not given that opportunity to, you know, showcase. And here's the cool thing too, is like Lucha Underground, you know, characters and stuff are given the opportunity to work dark matches, and they get to do stuff just to try different things. But when somebody's given a specific character, the thing that I like is that DJ is very detailed, and so is Chris Roach, on exactly what they're looking for, and they present it to you in a way that people are grasping it and going like, okay, I get that. I can do that. So they're getting the ball and they're being able to run and do that. And it's cool to sit in, you know, the production meetings before the shows and tapings, to sit there and listen to some of the ideas. Some of the ideas, if you guys heard some of the ideas that were, you know, thrown around in production meetings and stuff, you guys would go like, you guys are insane.
I've heard a couple of them, and they're pretty out there.
Yeah.
I mean, well, there's already a dragon that breathes fire. That's on the show. So you can imagine what.
There's a time traveler, Byron. There's a time traveler, and lots of hot women that are more than 200 years old.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
And it's funny because there's some just stuff that's just like so outside the box that, you know, when EB-Dub hears them, he goes, oh, you guys are full of shit. But
I
sometimes
can hear him saying it too. I can just see him like, what? What are you kidding me? Really? We're going to do that? But he doesn't. He probably won't say, whoa, whoa, whoa. He's saying, what? We're going to do that?
Yeah, and one of the things that Eric does a lot, he goes, I'm trusting you on this. You know, he does that. So, and of course, it works out, man. So there you go.
All right. So since we're talking about these crazy characters, there's some scary dudes. There's some real monsters like in Lucha Underground. Who's the scariest monster? Are we talking it's Vibra, the Luchasaurus? Is it Mil Muertes? Is it Matanza? Who's the scariest monster to you in Lucha Underground?
Mil Muertes by far, man. By far,
Yes.
man. That guy is just a monster in itself, man. Mil Muertes is Mil Muertes. I mean, you know, when you see Mil Muertes, it's not Macias, it's not whoever, it's Mil Muertes, man. And talk about a guy who gets the character and brings that character alive, man. It's scary. It's scary.
No one has gotten me to move in the temple faster.
Yeah.
That's for double damn sure. Not even Matanza. Like Mil Muertes comes by and says, move. Like every idiot that's in the temple that doesn't move, I'm just like, you are not a real believer. You should not be here. You're going to die. This is not good for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going back to South by Southwest, there was a spot that Phoenix and Mil Muertes did. Move. There was some guy who wasn't a believer. I guess he was there at the show forever. Move. And, you know, like you said, when Mil says move, you move. So the guy stood there on his phone. He was trying to take pictures and do whatever. And then Mil looks at me, and then Phoenix gets up and everything, and he says, move. The guy just sat there. So he looks to Phoenix, and he says in Spanish, he goes, vámonos. So he shoots Phoenix into the dude. Boom, knocks him down, breaks his chair and everything else. And the guy's on the floor selling, and he's hurt and everything. And I said, you should have moved.
It is the double truth, man. People just don't know. It gets real when Mil is out there in the audience, man. And he's going to work the crowd every time, too. There's going to be a spot near a crowd if he has anything to do with it.
When we bring a new person into a taping, that's the first rule we tell them when they sit with us, because we're usually ringside. First rule of a Lucha Underground taping is when Mil says to move, you move.
Yes.
We have really actually said that to several newbies, haven't we?
Yeah, one of my friends hid behind one of my other friends when Mil came running, which is just beautiful.
Smart. But dude, Mil can go through two people. Or Mil can send a body through two people.
Here, so. I got a Mil story, man. Right in the beginning of season 3, we were walking through some stuff, and this is just how strong this guy is. He was walking through some stuff and everything, and he went to hit the corner or something. My hand happened to be like on the turnbuckle, and he went and he hit it, and I went, oh my God, I felt something. I just knew something was wrong. So I went to the doctor's the following Monday and everything. He fractured my knuckles on my right hand, my pinky and my ring finger. He fractured them with just a punch, dude.
Holy smokes, man.
Oh, he has the hardest punch in the business.
Oh, dude, tell me about it, man. I was hurting for a bit, but, you know, the show must go on.
Yeah, just don't be there. It's the only solution to that. Just don't be there when it's coming, brother.
You should have told Eric that before he punched him in the face.
Dude.
Do you have any Katrina stories? Maybe those hurt less.
Katrina stories? No, not at all. You know, she goes in, she does her thing, and you know, she licks people, and you know, that's pretty much it. You know, she's licked all the other referees except me. You know, because you know, I have a gorgeous hot wife. You know, who you know, I don't want to be disrespectful like that. But
now, see, ladies and gentlemen, that right there is the smartest referee in the game. That's some smart stuff right there. You want to talk about working smarter and not harder? That's how you do it, folks.
Happy wife, happy life, man.
It makes me upset that she's like Justin, the ref, not Justin in this podcast.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, she's licked those other guys and all that, and you know, it hasn't come to that. But you know, I just, you know, it's like, you know, I you know, don't see it happening in the future. You know, because I don't want to do that. You know, not to say that, you know, oh no, I don't want to be licked with that tongue. It's licked everything or whatever. It's not that, or I don't like her. It's just, out of respect for my wife.
Well, listen, I'll come to your ref school, Marty. You'll teach me how to ref, and then when you don't want to do her matches, you can put me in for you. I will tag in. I will do the Katrina matches for you, so that you don't have to deal with it. I volunteer as tribute.
You'll be a referee tag team.
I'll let her know that, and I'll let DJ and EV-Dub know that too. But no, I mean, and the funny thing is, I haven't been approached, to take a lick or this and that and everything. But I'm sure if I was approached, I'm sure DJ would understand, and so would Katrina. That out of respect to my wife, I don't want to do that. So I just love my wife too much.
I got a quick question. Do you get a kick out of like at PWG in the Southern California or maybe even the Vegas shows? I was at a FSW show and I saw you guys there, but I think Knox and Justin there. But the crowd seemed to know you guys, and you all have your own sort of personalities or gimmicks. And I just wanted to know, why is Justin so horrible?
Wow.
Wow. Way to beat around the bush there, Byron. Way to not just zero right in on it.
No, so but how
do you really feel?
I'm kidding. I like Justin, but that's the thing. Like, everyone yells at him. Everyone does.
You just like saying my name and something horrible in the same sentence. That's what it is.
It fits. And Knox has, going over the top rope. You have the Marty dance. But how is
the
that?
Marty dance? What's the Marty dance?
You do the
when Melissa makes you do the spin.
Oh, the spin.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, the dance. I was like, really? Where was I?
But it's almost like sometimes you're more over than the wrestlers in the ring at this point.
Yeah, see, you know what, man? I just feel so embarrassed at times when that happens, because that's not supposed to be happening. I go in, like I said earlier, man, I want to do the best job I can and everything. But, it's happening, and it's happening organically. It's not something that I'm asking for. Like I said, it's my work speaking for itself, and people are entertained by what I do, and I go in there and I work hard. Am I humbled by this? Yeah, man. I mean, I still pinch myself, man, especially more so nowadays, because it's like, man, this is really happening. People know who I am more so than, anything I ever did with WWE, man. So it's mind boggling to see that. And, to get recognized when I go to Disneyland, of course, I'm a Disney nerd. But, when I go to Disneyland on date night every Saturday night, that there's fans, I'm wearing the swag or something like that. People will just go like, oh my God, you're Marty Elias. And I go, yeah. They go, oh my God, can I get a picture with you? And I'm going, yeah, sure. Here's a guitar pick. So, it's very humbling, man.
And that was the dream, wasn't it, Marty? That was the dream that you had when you were a little kid. You wanted to be given the autographs. You wanted to be recognized. And here it is. It's however many years later. You're the senior referee and official for Lucha Underground. You walk into Disneyland and people know who the heck you are because you worked your way up and you earned it. Congratulations.
Thank you. But to me, man, it's very, very humbling, because I never really thought it was going to happen like this, and it is. And not to say that I get recognized, I mean, like Shawn Michaels or Jericho or whoever, but it's pretty cool to get recognized for your work and what you do. And, it's, wow, it's, mind-boggling, dude.
Well, I for one think that it's well deserved. Byron and I talked to you at the season 2 finale screening at the movie theater for Lucha Underground, and just in chatting with you for a couple of minutes over some wings and hanging out and doing what the Lucha Clique does, it was like, damn, Marty is the guy who has the best seat in the house for the stuff that we love. Like, we have good seats.
Yeah.
We've been sitting right on the front row for a lot of great moments in Lucha Underground, and it's like, damn it, there is one dude who has a better seat than us, and it's freaking Marty. And the stories that guy must have, and lo and behold, Here you are on our show telling us those stories and kind of living through some of it. And for us, it's like, that's why it's amazing, because you're a guy that we know has the same passion as a fan of everything, as well as someone who is working on it. Like, we can't claim to do the work that you do, or that we put in the time and effort that you have put in to earn that best seat in the house. But you've got it, man. You're standing right next to Mundo and Puma when they're fighting over the belt.
Dude, Ray and Puma, we were talking about that match, and we were talking about that match, how we were ringside. Like, we were so excited for Ultimate Luchadores for that Ray and Puma match, and you're like, I had the best seat. I was in the ring.
Yeah, and stuff like that is very humbling, guys. To know that you're in there with those kind of guys, and the talent that those guys have, and what they bring to the business, and who they are in the business. Especially working with Rey Mysterio, he's Mr. Lucha. He's the king of Lucha, and to be there with him, and to to get his matches, and to work, and like you said, just have the best seat in the house. But it goes back to the same thing. Ray being comfortable with me and knowing that I'm going to be there for him, and just getting those matches, and like you said, I've earned it. And, that's what DJ wanted, when he first approached me about doing Lucha Underground, is that he wanted me to be his senior official. And, here I am.
So, okay, being the senior official, I got to ask this one, Marty. I always ask at least one hard question to all of our guests. You guys finally take the show on the road. We're not talking about the South by Southwest thing. We're talking about Lucha in Vivo. Mm-hmm. What was up with those ring ropes at that one? I mean, come on, brother. What happened? You were there, right?
Yeah,
what was going on with those ring ropes? That was like grandma boobies. It was saggy, man. It was not.
How do you have a Jack Evans match?
Which show did you go to?
I wasn't there. I just saw it later. I just saw the ring ropes, and I was like, so that's why I say you tell me what happened, brother.
Okay, what happened is the guy who we commissioned to do our rings for us and stuff was a guy that I've known forever, and he brought the ring and stuff, and did that. And when I seen the ropes earlier, I was appalled by it. And I had actually mentioned it to him, and I mentioned it a lot. And I actually had some of the guys come to me and voice their opinion about it. And we actually had the same thing in Houston. And the guys didn't want to do certain things because they didn't feel safety. And it's my responsibility as the ring guy, maintenance guy, whatever. I take full responsibility for that, because they weren't where they needed to be, the ropes or the ring, and I take full responsibility for that. Will it happen on the next live events? No, but I take full responsibility for that. I had somebody, that I had in mind. We gave them the opportunity, and will we give them another opportunity? Rudy, if you're listening, ropes, brother, ropes. So there you go.
All right. See, and this is why I had to ask you. Is like, I know I was putting you on blast a little bit because I know you take that stuff very seriously. I've seen how attentive you are to the tension of the ropes. Like even in WWE and other places, it's like, I don't know that other people pay attention to this stuff like you do, but you've got luchadors. You got guys that are going to do certain rope spots. Some guys are going to hit turnbuckles hard. Some guys need the extra spring. Some guys need a little lag in it to get the right recoil. Like you're very particular about it, and I know that you will change the actual ring itself based on a performer or based on spots that have to be done a certain way, and that's why I had to ask you, because I was like, when I first saw it, I was like, oh hell no, I know Marty lost his damn mind on this situation, and one of these days I'm gonna have to ask him about it, because I'm not afraid to ask about it. And I was like, I know it's gonna be uncomfortable for him, but at the same time I gotta ask. Like, what went down?
I lost it, man. I really did, man. Especially being in there and it happening, dude. I lost it, and I voiced my opinion, but I did it the right way. And, I love Rudy. And I gave him the opportunity to correct the problem, and I hope he corrects the problem. If we go out on the road and do more stuff, and it's just one of those things. And like I said, I take full responsibility for it. I'm the one who got Rudy involved and contacted him, and arranged everything. And that's something that happens. And it's one of those things, that when you go out on the road, it's one of these minor setbacks that you have, that next time you go out, you just know better. And next time Lucha goes out, I know better.
Well, and at the same time, I'm going to say this. As soon as I heard about it and saw what was going on, I also was not afraid for the performers at all, as I would have been if it was in some gymnasium back in Ohio and it was some local show and nobody knew what was going on. I was like, well, look, Marty's there, so it doesn't matter. Like, it sucks for them. It's not ideal, but at the same time, no one's going to get hurt. They're going to work safe. They know what the issue is now. I know that Marty's on top of it. I know these other guys are on top of it. So at the same time, we had a little bit of a laugh at it. I know it was deadly serious for you, but at the same time, we were just like, look, we know everyone's fine. The crowd's still loving it. It's still a great event. And, you know, this at the same time is also like, hey, we want to see Lucha touring, and we want to see them have time to prep and make sure everything is right in the future and really get out there and do some cool things at house shows and on the road. Because I know that whole thing came together super fast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was crazy on how fast that had to come together. But the thing is, you know, I'm very passionate, like you said, and I really am really a stickler when it comes to rings and safety. Because, you know, believe it or not, I don't know if you know this or not, but those tapings don't start at the temple unless I sign off on those rings being ready and everything ready to go.
I know we've been waiting in there when it's like 98 degrees for you, Marty. We know. but Marty, you said you've signed off on the safety. What's up with Dario's office? It doesn't seem to be that sound. Like people go through the windows, people go through the roof. What? I think there might need to be some codes checked on the office.
Who signs off on the bleachers?
Who signs off on the bleachers? That's our set folks. But as far as offices and rooftops and all that and everything, you got to figure who's going through them. We mentioned Mil Muertes, Matanza, so there you go, man.
Yeah, I guess if you throw 300 pounds.
People going through the bleachers, they're going through the parts we don't sit at. We sit in the front row. Come on. It's fine.
Oh, that's not true, Casey. When I first came to Lucha Underground with you guys, we sat at the very top of the bleachers. Just luckily, it was on the other side.
We had to work our way up, Justin.
I know. We paid our dues.
My knees were tucked under my chin. We're all squeezed in the back row in the bleachers.
It was the high five section, though, because you got to high five Drago when he would come out and drip the tongue and stuff, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I like the high five section. I miss it. We're not going back, though.
Front row only.
Well, Marty, this has been amazing. Is there anything else you want to share with us? I mean, I know you've got some of the best stories in the world. So if there's anything else you want to share with us before we move on and talk about the other inane things that we're going to speak about tonight, I just want to thank you for joining us and give you a last opportunity if there's anything else you want to throw in, brother.
Oh, man, I got a list right here, guys.
Oh,
yeah. So
hit it.
First and foremost, man, I want to give a big shout out to Brian Metz. Brian, B-Dog, man, if you're listening, bro, if you're watching, I love you, man. You're my brother, and, you know, you take care of everybody at Lucha Underground. And I also wanted to thank all the folks who take care of everybody at Lucha Underground, from the cable guys to the camera guys to everybody. Without those individuals, you know, we wouldn't be able to do Lucha Underground, and Lucha Underground wouldn't have the success that it has. So thank all those folks behind the scenes, you know, Christy, you know, Liz, Matt, I mean, just, you know, handful of people. So thank you guys. Much love to you guys. Wanted to also thank Future Legend and Champ of Future Legend Apparel, which my boys are taking care of me with some merch.
Hey, love it. Tell them to send us some shit too. What's up?
You know, so check them out, man. FutureLegend.com. These guys have some very cool stuff, man. I mean, if you're into dreams, achieving dreams, and wearing some cool gear, man, these guys have some stuff, man. You know, I wouldn't wear it if I didn't like the message, and the message is just great, man. It's about fulfilling your dreams and going out and, you know, doing what you got to do.
And what's the website again, Marty?
FutureLegend.com.
All right.
FutureLegend.com. Also, too, man, I want to give a big shout out to my brothers in stripes. And I got my list right here, so I'll just go. You know, Jack Doan, thank you for taking care of me at WWE, man. I really appreciate it. You know, our time there, bro. Chad Patton, still love watching you on TV. Mike Chioda is one of the guys who helped me out, and I watched before I got to WWE. So tremendous. Scott Armstrong, you know, part of the Armstrong family, man. He's doing great stuff there at WWE right now. So Scotty, love you, man. John Cone, you know, Conor is doing great. You know, he's working behind the scenes with WWE now too, and, you know, God bless him, he's doing great. Jimmy Corderas out in Canada, man. Corderas, thank you so very much for taking me under your wing when I did the SmackDown stuff, man. You took care of me, and God bless you, man. Goose Mahoney out in Florida, keep riding, bro. Rick Knox, of course, Knoxy, you know. You and I have been through a lot of shit together, so, you know, mad props to you. Justin Borden, Justin's favorite referee.
Boo.
No, you know what, man? Knox and Borden, man, those guys have really earned their keep, man. These guys have been, through a lot of stuff, and they've worked for a lot of people here in Southern California, and they've really not had that opportunity to do some cool stuff. When DJ asked me for 2 other referees, those are the first 2 guys who came to mind, and I'm so glad, you know, that I was able to help them out and be a part of Lucha Underground, man. Those guys worked their asses off, and they deserve, you know, everything that they're getting, man. I love those guys, so I'll see them soon. But most importantly, I want to thank Timmy White. Timmy White took me under his wing at WWE like a lot of these guys did, showed me the ropes, smartened me up to a lot of stuff. And Timmy White, you're awesome. But Tommy Young, old NWA referee, man, watching a lot of his stuff that he did, you know, very big inspiration. And I took some stuff for myself and I made him, you know, Marty Elias stuff. But I also want to send a very special shout out and a get well to Charles Robinson, who was injured this past Sunday at the Royal Rumble during the Cena and AJ match. Charles, you know, I love you, man. You got great hair. And, you know, I hope to see you sooner than later on TV, bro. You know, I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. I got a couple other things, so bear with me. February 18th, just want to remind everybody, the Santino brothers, I'll be doing the Marty Elias referee seminar. So come one, come all, whether you're a referee aspiring, you're a manager, you're a worker, come out, man. I'm going to share stories. I'm going to show you guys how to work in the ring, how to work with the babyface, heel, what it takes to make it, how to get there, and, you know, all of the above. I'm looking forward to it. I did a clinic in July of 2015 with Dr. Tom, and it was amazing. And Dr. Tom gave me props, and, you know, he endorses what I'm doing right now. And he says if I need anything to let him know, because Dr. Tom is the king of clinics, and he's probably the greatest trainer that ever lived in wrestling history. So, you know, I'm really looking forward to that and taking this whole referee thing to the next level as far as training wise.
And you can hit is it on the website, SantinoBrothers.net?
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
SantinoBros.net, I think. Well, let me check.
Santino Bros.
SantinoBros.net. Yeah, that's where
Yes.
you can go and check out the info.
Check that out.
Guys.
Sign up, come up, or you can come day of and sign up, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. I want to thank Joey Munoz for giving me the opportunity and, you know, doing it there. So it's going to be cool. And on that note, if other promoters are listening, if there's anybody out there in the United States or in abroad, Mexico, Japan, they want Marty Elias seminar to come out, or you want me to work for you, I'll be more than happy. Hit me up at bookmartyelias@gmail.com. That's Marty Elias, or bookmartyelias@gmail.com. And social media, Facebook, just hit up Marty Elias. Instagram, Marty Elias67. And on Twitter, it's Marty Elias 1967. So there we go, guys.
There it is. Love it, man. Marty, look, thank you so much for doing this with us tonight. And you got to come back, because there's like 5 stories I already know about that. I was like, damn, we didn't even get to this, that, and the other thing. Like you are the man of mythical legend with the inside goods as being the third man in the ring, brother. So thank you so very much for coming out. And I'm glad we finally got to do this now that G.L.O.W is done, because I know I was trying to get you when G.L.O.W was going on. You're like, bro, 12-hour days. I'm in front of it. Like, it's not happening. There's no way.
Oh, hey, if you're going season 2, Justin and I have resumes, if you don't mind.
Hey, and you know what? Marty's not the guy that can turn us down if we hit him up 1,000,000 times, because that's how he did it, man. 10
times a day. Got it.
Hey, you know what's funny? You know what's funny? It's not funny. It's actually going to be pretty cool. Let's say the Lucha Underground Netflix deal happens. Let's say it does happen for some reason or another. And let's say G.L.O.W happens too. So that's going to be 2 shows that Marty Elias is involved with on Netflix in 2017.
And somehow I have a sneaking feeling that when one goes off and is finished, there's going to be a little box down in the bottom right-hand corner that says, hey, to watch the other one. I just have this slight feeling. Just the slight.
You never know. Hey, but real quick before I go, guys, I want to thank my wife, Suzanne, for sticking with me forever and putting up with all my bullshit through the years. And my daughter, Shandy, I love you very much, you know, and you two mean the world to me, and let's rock and roll.
Shandy with the coolest rock and roll name ever.
Yep. Amen.
All right, brother. Well, it was a pleasure, and hopefully we'll see you back on the show again soon, and hopefully we'll have lots of big things to talk about, because the second half of season 3, as all of us know, is the stuff of legend, as I like to say on
Cheers.
El Rey promos that turn up every now and then. All right, brother. Thank you again. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Marty.
Take care, guys.
Buddy.
Peace.
Marty Elias, everybody. That was one for the ages right there. I feel
That
50
was
now.
fucking dope, dude. That was
I feel
so
older and wiser.
cool.
Like we earned our big 5-0 today, guys.
oh shit. Yeah, 50 episodes.
Look, okay, so before we move too far away from Lucha Underground, I want to talk about the Spectrum thing, and I don't want to get Marty all embroiled in that shit, but I kind of want to explain it to people since, we talk about we understand TV and stuff. It's like, here's the deal. Here's what happened. So for people in Los Angeles, it's a big damn deal that they couldn't even watch the old episode of Lucha Underground this week because on what used to be Time Warner, your El Rey network, lo and behold, if you turn it on this Wednesday, was no longer there.
And me and Justin are both going through this right now, so you guys know.
I'm not.
Now
I have
I'm
Sling.
fortunate. Yeah, I also have Sling, so I'm fortunate enough that I was still able to watch the episodes anyway. Still able to get my El Rey fix, though. Certainly more inconvenient because then I have to either put it on Google Chrome and throw it to my TV, or I have to log in the apps and this and the other thing. And it's a little bit of a pain in the butt than rather just clicking on my Time Warner or what is now Spectrum. So just so people get an idea of why this happened, because a lot of people are baffled and people don't know if it's Charter Spectrum's fault or if it's Univision, who is the kind of the parent behind El Rey and distributes the network. It's both. To be quite honest. So here's how it works. Time Warner Cable and Bright House were merged or purchased by Charter. And now Charter overall, after it purchased Time Warner and Bright House, has and its original Charter stuff, has become Spectrum, which is what they're calling it, even though it's still basically Charter. And now they're the number 2 cable provider in America. When they took over, what they decided to do with certain networks, and Fox, by the way, all of Fox has a huge issue with this as well. So Univision is not by themselves. Fox just hasn't felt the same immediacy that Univision did about their situation. They put lawsuits into place immediately with Charter because what Charter wanted to do was, once they bought Time Warner, they wanted to use the lower prices that Time Warner had in their cable carriage areas as opposed to the prices that Charter had negotiated in their areas. So what happened is basically immediately Charter Spectrum started paying Univision less money. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, but TV companies aren't in the habit of making less money overnight. Usually it's like, hey, let's increase it a little bit here. Let's increase it a little bit here. Spectrum decided that they were going to try to say, no, we now have Time Warner's deals, so we're going to spread that across all of the areas that we carry your network. We're going to pay that price for everywhere. But Time Warner was a bigger company. They had bigger markets like Los Angeles, so they were able to negotiate better deals. That's part of how free trade and capitalism works, people. You negotiate the best deal, supply and demand. When you have the power, you use it. Time Warner used that. Charter didn't have any part of that. Charter didn't negotiate those deals. They were paying a higher price because they needed Univision. They needed El Rey, and they needed to pay a premium for it. So, lo and behold, this situation comes around, and Univision's like, hey, we're just going to yank our shit, dude. You can't not pay us. You can't not pay us what you told us you were going to pay us. And then Spectrum turns around and says, hey, you can't not let us air this stuff for what we already paid. Because one company is talking about one contract that's favorable to them. The other company is talking about the other contract that's favorable to them. And then who gets screwed? The average everyday Lucha Underground fan who's just trying to turn on the show on a Wednesday night and watch a rerun. That's all you're trying to do, right?
And this isn't even a Lucha Underground thing. You know how many fucking movies I watch on El Rey? Where are my fucking Kung Fu movies, Spectrum?
Hey, man, I'm missing the shit out of
They're on my
Airwolf.
Sling.
Yeah, so you get Sling or whatever. So I mean, like, I've had it with Time Warner for years, man. It's like, it's time for DirecTV or something else, or somebody who's actually got El Rey Network and the channels that I like for a decent price because
Satellite only has it in standard definition, which kind of yeah.
don't tell me these things. But I'm not getting rid of Sling either, so I still have my Sling too, and it's an unfortunate situation, and it also adds complication to the other stuff that's going on because then people think it feeds into the well, Lucha Underground's going to go away now for sure because El Rey's not going to have the money because they're getting canceled off in this network. No, this will get worked out.
We just literally told them that the Netflix deal's fucking happening.
Yes, and to reiterate what I said earlier, Netflix deal happening, timeline unsure because they have to get the show to Netflix specs. Only one season was done in 2 languages. Only, the second season, which was only in English, they have to get the dubbing. They have to get the closed captions in there. They have to make it Netflix ready. That takes a little bit of time.
Yes.
So
Netflix has very meticulous standards for their product as well.
And
it'll happen, people.
And QC might bounce around it.
You guys ever do an international version of a show that you've done before?
Yes,
yeah,
you have to.
I actually got residuals from Airplane Repo recently from overseas.
You have to get your M&E tracks. Wait, you got residuals off of a show you worked on?
Yeah, show I
just
directed
get nightmares.
because I was a director on it overseas in Europe. They have to pay residuals to directors. It's amazing. Like I was like, wow, where'd this $90 come from or whatever? Like it wasn't a lot of money, but it was still really cool.
When I used to intern over at Sony, which you might have seen in the news because their movie arm just lost $1 billion in one fucking quarter. Good time.
Yeah, they haven't done a lot of good stuff recently.
Yeah,
I like Ghostbusters. I know
I don't think Pixel's recouped for them. I don't think those.
No, their big movies this quarter were Passengers, the rapiest fucking movie since Last House on the Left, and the Magnificent Seven remake, which blasphemy, fucking blasphemy. But I heard it's actually good. But anyway, I used to intern on the international TV side, so I used to be the person that had to transcribe all of the episodes so they could do all these fucking things.
So what you're saying is you're basically the guy that's making us wait for Netflix for Lucha Underground right now, Casey. It's basically you.
People like me. I type 85 words a minute. They could have called Casey.
Yeah, I would hire you to do it in a second.
You know
maybe they need to hire you to make sure it gets on Netflix faster.
You know how many times I had to type Lamont, you big dummy?
You big dummy.
It was all Sanford and Son.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. If I was going to have to transcribe a show, that would be way up there.
It was Bewitched and Sanford and Son, and when I saw they had Sanford and Son, I'm like, could I just do this all the time? And they're like, yeah, you can.
Hey, other Lucha Underground news that's maybe not so great. AAA, they've kind of registered some names recently. Some names of some guys who just took those names. Some names.
Can I rant a little bit?
Yeah, please do, because I don't even know what to say at this point. This shit is so confusing. It's like every time you think it's finally ironed out and things are kind of going smoothly, one side or the other does something else where it's just like, oh God, as a fan, this is not good for me.
No.
Not good for me.
You know what's really great, by the way? The fact that a bunch of people just bought a mask for a certain brand of a character.
Well, I want to hear what Casey's brand is.
Yeah, let's hear what Casey has to say.
Because that might make the mask more valuable. Honestly, that's not necessarily a bad thing at all. That's a good.
Yeah, how you liking that?
I love my Octagon Junior mask for that very reason.
Okay, so, Pentagon leaves AAA. We all know about that, right? Okay, well, Justin's leaving, so now this is going to be a rant about Justin.
Hold on, Casey. I'm looking at your face. I want to ask you if you just lost a fight recently.
I'm looking at your face, and I'm wondering why you didn't shave your ass and learn to walk backwards. But
I'm not even walking right now.
Oh, well, there you go. So check this out, dude. Pentagon leaves AAA. What does AAA say in the fucking press conference that's supposed to be about their new pay-per-view but ended up being all about Pentagon leaving? Oh,
what do they say?
It doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? We wish him the best in life. Go right ahead. Then they go and register his fucking new name as their trademark because they are bootleg Bush League just pieces of shit, man. Like, come on, that's like something that even TNA would look at and say, that's kind of a shitty move. So, yeah, a little pissed. Because you know what? They're trying to do exactly what they did to Phoenix, which is make it so that Pentagon can't work anywhere. It makes me wonder why Pentagon didn't just register the fucking trademark, because they already did this shit to his brother. But,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
maybe he
what
didn't.
happens? So what happens when Pentagon announces his name and then AAA, if the paperwork goes through, it's not confirmed yet or approved, but if it goes through and they own the name, what does that mean for him?
I mean, he can't use it. I mean, somebody else owns it now.
They could try to fucking cock block him in court. They could try to go after people like Mass Republic selling the merch. And it's like, they already give Mass Republic enough fucking problems. And it's like, oh God, like, okay.
Well, I mean, look, it's possession is 9/10 of the law. The simple fact of the matter is, he could try to go register tomorrow. Maybe he gets it and they don't. And I don't know Mexican trademark law at all. Like, I can tell you how it works in the U.S., but in Mexico, God only knows. But I can tell you this: like here, there's other protections too that you can fight it a lot easier. Like if you can show proof of use in a major media event, like the crash or somewhere else, or even just his tweets. Up here, that stuff is totally admissible. Down in Mexico, I don't even think they're going to look at that. They're just going to be like, oh yeah, somebody filed this registration, send it through. And then the problem is afterwards, since they filed it first, they'll go through first, and then he's got to fight it. And it's not even that he couldn't win. He very well could win down there. But what wrestler wants to go sit in court for 4 months or hire a bunch of lawyers, over 7 or 8 letters in a certain order to try to prove who you are? I mean, that's not, I can't imagine that's on Pentagon's list of things he wants to do in 2017 is to sit in fucking court over some name he just made up last week. Like, make another one.
2 things. Well, I got a rant and I got a fucking solution. I've got the solution for this, okay? But first, I got the rant.
Okay, what's the rant and what's the solution?
AAA is the one that did this when they're the ones that are constantly using music without rights, including stealing theme songs from WWE without permission.
Thriller! Oh. How many times do you hear Thriller and Welcome to the Jungle on a AAA show?
Yeah, it's like, hey, AAA, maybe us Pentagon fans should talk to the Michael Jackson estate. If you want to fuck with our favorite wrestler. But my other suggestion, my solution, while we're on slightly feminine African-American singers that are no longer with us, do the Prince thing. Pentagon, make his name the fucking Shape.
I see, but now that you've said that, now they're going to go and start doing registrations on artwork too.
Fuck.
But God, look, but at the same time, and I'm not going to defend it, but what are they supposed to do? What are they supposed to do when a wrestler leaves? I mean, do you just like in Mexico?
Let him fucking go, dude. WWE are the biggest dicks about legal shit in the world, and they do not do shit like this.
Yeah, but come on, it's a different. If honestly, look, and it's not racist to say this. Mexico is a different culture. Like, you're not going to get respect from the guys, from the workers, from anybody if you come soft when people are jerking you around. Like, look, Pentagon left his contract. He did.
Yeah.
I mean, he really did. So what do you do when one of your guys ups and leaves and shows up someplace else and rebrands himself, but he's still kind of using a gimmick he was using with you? Do you let it go? Do you let him slide? I mean, if they let it slide, isn't that just telling everybody they can do it? And don't get me wrong, I'm not happy that they're screwing the guy, and I'm not defending AAA by any stretch of the imagination, but at the same time, I don't know what else you do in that market with that culture. It's something like that. That's part of why you don't want to have to be in these situations. Like the down in Mexico with wrestling has been the wild, wild west for a long, long effing time. This is not new. And like up here, people are just now kind of getting exposed to it. But I'm sure Lucha Blog and Rob Viper and all these other guys in Mass Republic, I'm sure they can tell you that these kind of things are not new. Like they're new to a lot of people because of Lucha Underground now that are hearing it up here, and they're like, "Oh crap! What if my favorite stars aren't back when Lucha Underground finally gets everything going again because of all this stuff with AAA?" And it's like, yeah, welcome to being a fan of Lucha Libre, guys. This shit's been happening for a long time, man. Your favorite wrestlers,
long-time fan, dude.
Or
Just
wrestling
consider
in
yourselves
general.
lucky they didn't put someone else under the fucking gimmick already, because that's the kind of shit AAA used to do. All the time.
like, am I
Yeah.
going to be surprised if there's a brand new sexy star that shows up? They've already said that they were going to start looking around for another sexy star in Mexico and AAA. Like maybe the actual performer, gets to do it up here. Maybe she's
Michael
still
Parker.
like, because I don't claim to understand all of the Lucha Underground contracts, but but that's the other thing. Like your boy Cuerno saying, like, hey, everybody should have done what I did. He had an unfortunate injury, but it helped him out in the regards that he was able to kind of do a newer contract, and he doesn't have one of the original Lucha contracts from what he's saying. He's got a newer contract, and he seems happy with it to the point where he's looking at everyone else like, you guys should have done what I did. I'm good. I don't have to leave.
Hey,
I have a question about the Pentagon thing. Do you think that these guys, when Pentagon or even when Phoenix leaves and they trademark the name, that's part of them trying to bring one of their employees back to the table? So they talk about the name, they start.
They're doing it to
I don't think they're trying to bring them back at all. I don't think
They're
that's
not
what they're
just
trying to do.
registering Pentagon. That's what we need to be a little more clear on, because some of the listeners might not get it. They already registered that. They fucking registered Penta El Cero M.
Yeah,
They fucking registered Ray Phoenix.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is
because
also
they don't
funny
want these
because
guys
he wasn't the first person to
They
use
also,
Ray.
they
They
also
don't want them
registered
to use
Al
the gimmick
Patron
at
for-
all. They don't want them to use any
Fuck
part.
Alberto Del Rio.
But I mean, they don't want them to use any part of the gimmick that was part of what they created for their show. They want these guys to, if they're going to leave, if they're going to break their contracts and go somewhere else, they want them to go somewhere else as a completely different character. Change your mask, change your name, change your whole persona. Don't do anything that you were doing under our roof. That's what they're saying. They're not saying we want to bring you back to the table. They're not saying we want to patch things up. They're not saying we want to work it out. They're saying, look, guys, we wanted you to stay here. We wanted you to do this, that, and the other thing. So you're not doing it. We don't want you to do anything even close to it somewhere else. I mean, it's like, look at when Hulk Hogan left, WWF and went to WCW. You think Vince wanted him doing anything close? You think he wanted him in yellow and red and, saying Hulk stir? Like Hulk was creative and found those other ways to skirt being exactly what he was in WWF just enough.
He got to do it because he was paying Marvel. Well, who was it? He was paying someone Marvel for the gimmick, not Vince McMahon, because of Hulk.
Yeah, but he had
right. But his designs and everything and the Hulkamania stuff and all that stuff had to go away. But so he did the next closest thing. Like there was no doubt about it. It was Hulk Hogan, and believe you me, there was no doubt about it. Vince wasn't happy.
But I have a question from the chat room real quick, because Meatloaf is about to go to work.
Oh, it's that time already.
He's in England,
what's the question?
The question is, can you please tell Justin AAA can suck my dick?
That's not a question.
So yes, I will. Justin, AAA can suck Meatloaf's dick.
No, a question would be like, can they do it? Like, can they physically do it? Like, can they fly across the pond?
Meatloaf had a request.
Can they fit Meatloaf's enormous penis into their mouths? Is the question.
Well, I don't know.
I'm just putting the dude over.
My question at this point is, AAA is what it is. I've accepted it for a long time, as anyone who watches AAA should.
It's always been the goofy fucking company that does weird shit.
And I like AAA. I have always liked AAA, but I've never counted on performers that I like, especially mid-card performers, to last a long time or break through to the top or to get treated the way that I want to see them get treated. Like, I've never expected that from AAA, and that doesn't change now. So where I become concerned is, well, crap, how does this affect Lucha Underground? And those answers don't exist yet, people. Don't speculate. Don't say those answers don't exist. And I'm telling you that for a fact. Those answers don't exist yet. We don't even know how half this stuff affects it, you know? And there's been several times when I wanted to figure out like how this was going to work in the future. These guys do have separate contracts, but you know, at this point, what if they don't want to live up to that contract? I don't know. Like, I can't tell you what Pentagon wants to do from here. Like, he wanted to do the Rebellion. He wanted to do Penta El Zero Miedo.
Does he own the Rebellion, or are we going to find out in a week that Dorian took
He hasn't filed a trademark for that yet either, from what I know. I mean, ask Lucha Blog, ask, you know, Rob Viper, ask Fredo, ask one of these guys that might know. Like,
I mean, I feel for them, but we hear for WWE and Lucha Underground and TNA TV shows with businesses, companies, you know, running the whole thing. We hear, oh, here are the recent trademark filings.
Yeah.
And we're like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what these names are for. And then,
It's
like,
not as
3
easy to
months
find.
later, you see the person on TV with the name and the catchphase that got trademarked.
well, and AAA's
There's
doing
still
it.
Lucha guys we haven't seen. Who the fuck is Sousa Tomis or Piston Paw Jack?
I mean, yeah, they're just like DJ creates something. He has an idea for something. They go and register it.
Yeah.
AAA gets something over. A guy works that character and he leaves the company. Then they register it.
You know what we need? You
This
know
is
how
the process.
when the guys started defecting to WCW and they got an agent who got them guaranteed contracts, and you started getting wrestlers with agents, we need luchadors with agents or lawyers who handle that shit for them so they can go and do their job and go to the shows and be creative and come up with the characters. And
Yeah, but
the
only way to do that in Mexico is going to be en masse. Like, it has to be several guys at once that people really care about, or it's not going to work, because all that's going to happen is a couple guys get agents, CMLL included. They're just not going to deal with those guys that have agents anymore.
Yeah.
And don't think it wasn't like that in America at one point in time. I mean, a lot of people fought really hard to get things accepted, like unions and agents and stuff like that. And like, you look at MMA right now, it's the same way. Guys aren't getting that, and you see them defecting and going here and there, and you got 50 people trying to start these agencies and whatnot. It's a hard road, man. Once you've gone down a certain path and the promoters have the money and people's immediate paychecks and families and livelihoods are at stake, it becomes a different thing. And that's the other reason why, like, you know, as much as I'm going to comment on some of this stuff at the same time, dude, it does not matter what I think. It doesn't. This does not put food on my table. It doesn't take food off of it. You know, as much as I want to see Pentagon in Lucha Underground and to see that character thrive and survive, I think he's a great worker. I think he's really over. I think we're some of the people that helped him get over. So I want to see him stay over. But at the same time, at the end of the day, if it does not work out for him, I still eat food. I still make my paychecks. It doesn't affect my life. His life and the other people around, and like, you know, a character that big leaving, that could topple the whole thing. That could wreck the whole show. I mean, I've heard.
Well, for me, if he leaves, I'm gone. I've said that very publicly.
Yeah, but what if it's his fault?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, see, and that's my whole thing. It's like, so then, you know, what could happen is a whole product could topple because all these fans leave en masse. But I don't know that will happen. Even with him.
I like Lucha Underground. I'm gonna keep watching it no matter who's on it, as long as I enjoy the show. And if Pentagon has to be somewhere else, I'll watch that too.
Well, and that's kind of my feeling at this point too. Like, I'll follow him to whatever he does, but at the same time, I don't think I'm going to give up on Lucha, because I think that they'll never replace him. In my eyes, they'll never find something that it has that natural coolness that just came out of nowhere and just worked. They're not going to replace that specifically, but they have other guys that, now that I'm hooked and now that I'm in, I'm never going to stop wanting to see AR Fox. I'm never going to want to stop seeing, you know, Killshot and Thunder Rosa and all these other people. Like, I'm not like Mill. If Mill's still around, shit, I'll watch that dude do anything. I'll watch him throw people through walls. At the same time, like, you know, season 2 was already hard enough for me with like, man, Pentagon's not here as much as I want. Damn, Pentagon got beat up by the Triad, which was awesome. But at the same time, I was like, I would like to see him squash maybe 3 or 4 people first, just because I'm sadistic and most believers are. Like Casey wants to see Pentagon murder people by stabbing him in the eyes with pencils, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would pay to see that. But yeah, I mean, okay, like realistically, how many people are going to stop watching for a character that barely gets featured on the show? Because he's always written off.
But he is super
Salty.
over. He is. Over.
He is. And this is, I know, hey, it's my opinion that the guy should be being booked like Stone Cold and protected like Stone Cold. But I'm not the one writing the show. And everyone does things for the reasons that they do things. Personally, if I was doing it, that's how I would do things. Because I like selling shirts.
Well, a personal message from me to Pentagon, to Phoenix, to Daga, to Jack, to any of these guys. Like if there's any workers or any of those guys who are watching this, please tell those guys that we love and appreciate them as workers. We love them being part of, especially of Lucha Underground. We're sorry to hear about their woes south of the border and in AAA, but we can't say that we're surprised. And at the same time, we hope that it all works out so that us, the fans, can find good, tangible ways to enjoy them. And I hope my preference is that it's Lucha Underground. As much as the Crash might be awesome, I don't think it's enough, and I don't think it's going to be enough soon enough for my personal taste. Like maybe 3-4 years from now, it'll be there. But me hearing this stuff about, them doing YouTube shows or whatnot, like if they can't get TV, like, okay, but if they get TV, can these performers be on that in America, in the United States? No, these guys are under Lucha Underground contracts.
Right.
They might be able to walk away from their AAA stuff, but I can guarantee they're not going to get on air in the United States with some other promotion as long as they have contracts with MGM, Lucha Underground, Factory Made, El Rey Network, whoever the hell signs their damn contracts, because people like to point out that I don't know what I'm talking about, whatever. Who the fuck cares? I'm here to tell you they're not going to get away with walking away from U.S. contracts. And I'm not saying that anyone's going to hold them hostage either, but at the same time, if they have a no-compete for U.S. television, those shows will get blocked. Those shows will not make it on air, brother. That's simple.
Watch what happened with Hernandez if you don't think he knows what he's talking about.
They had they had a whole angle in the can that they got rid of, and the people, Kenny King or whoever, like in the angle, it got trashed. He had nothing to do. He left TNA, didn't he, shortly after?
MVP just quit because they blamed him for it.
MVP quit. Yeah, wouldn't TNA, you shot the stuff, pay off Lucha Underground and MGM so you can air your product that you made.
But you got to pay the money, and that's the whole thing. They have to do a cost-benefit analysis and analyze whether or not they actually earn the time on screen, if they make enough money with the time on screen for it to matter, or if you just shelve it all together.
And they had to shelve a fucking stable angle where all the guys are ringside for all the other guys' matches. Which is
AAA's already editing their TV from the Revolution leaving. I mean, that's the way it works.
It goes to show that it wasn't worth salvaging a huge part of your show for Hernandez's contract with MGM and Lucha Underground. So why would anyone who knows what they're doing actually even try to break that contract to tape someone that they're not?
But again, and I don't want to speculate that anyone is. As far as we know, all these guys that have left AAA, they may still show up to Lucha Underground because they're contractually obligated to, and they want to, and that everything up here will be absolutely fine. Dorian might not mess with them. The Lucha Libre FMV LLC. Since people don't like me referring to it as Dorian, I'll say the whole name. Maybe they don't care. Maybe, hey, we're making money up here. You screwed us down there. You make money for us up here. You're a jerk to us down there and up here. Whatever. We don't care. Make us money. I don't know. These are the things that we don't know. We do not know if Lucha Libre, FMV, LLC will stop these guys from performing in Lucha Underground. I don't believe that anyone knows the answer to that yet.
The reason we say Dorian is because he is the GM.
Right. That's all. But whatever. I'll say it however the fuck people want me to say it, so I can be very specific and clear about what I'm saying. I don't think anybody knows how it's going to play out up here yet. I hope the best for the talent. I hope the best for the creative, that they have access to the people that they want to use for angles that are already in motion, that clearly from anyone who's been there, needs to play out. And I want to see those angles play out in a way that they're not just written off in the off season. So hopefully everybody can work something out for at least a couple of years where everything is honky-dory on this end to make a great product up here, regardless of the fact that they have other business dealings together and shit got ugly. The simple fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, business isn't personal. You might take it personal. You might do something personal because business didn't go your way. But I hope everyone understands the bottom line is the bottom line. A happy fan up here and a good product up here is going to turn heads and make big things happen for everyone involved, even if they can't agree on how things should be in Mexico.
As long as we can watch it.
Yeah, well, as long as we can watch it. And right now I'm doing that on Sling, so I'm still watching it.
But you know what I can watch, Justin? I can watch Face Off.
I'm getting there, but I got to talk Royal Rumble real quick first.
Hey, Casey, look at Kevin Cross's latest Instagram picture, by the way.
Ooh, is it a good one? Is he murdering somebody?
Well,
is he New Jack stabbing somebody in the middle of a match?
It's close.
Dude, the man's a murderer. The man is I mean, in his new 86ers gimmick thing that's going on and FSW, I don't know if you guys have seen any of that, but dude,
someone's in a
I
hospital.
got a hot tip on some fucking Ecto Cooler. How about that?
Oh shit.
Who cares?
Look, watch out for Cross, because Cross has gotten to the point where he got screwed out of his title, so he doesn't care about that anymore, and now he just wants to murder fools' faces. Like, that's not good for anybody.
I gave him a nice tip, and one of his victims was complaining on Twitter. I told him, Kevin, next time break his fucking fingers, and he can't, type in little complaints.
At least the thumbs. Slow him down. Break his thumbs. So Royal Rumble. The women, I'm going to start with the women's match. I had no problem with it. It wasn't spectacular. It wasn't supposed to be. I liked the build for it. I thought Charlotte was great. I liked Bayley. I think there was one or two little botches in it. Nothing major. Nothing that bugged me. I liked it.
No Sasha Banks spots.
No, but like Sasha's exciting. I think Sasha's more exciting than Bayley a lot of times, but I thought that match was exactly what it needed to be, to put a little cooling off period on the Sasha Charlotte thing and then kind of ramp back up to something new for the women's division. I loved it. And I like them bringing Mickie James in on the SmackDown side and all that. I think the women's division is getting there slowly. Yeah. They still need some more talent in there. But I'm not mad at it. That's to me, that's standard everyday wrestling practice, and it's good practice, good business. They're doing the right thing there. KO versus Reigns. Don't know if you guys watched this, but it's a really weird thing. The crowd was hot for that match. I mean, if you go back and listen to it, like I had it on in the background for a few minutes today, and I was like, damn, that crowd is fucking hot. That crowd is loud as hell. This match is cooking. Like, KO's setting up these chairs. Jericho's up in the shark tank and blah, 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 shark cage and yelling. And then Jericho drops the brass knuckles. Mm-hmm. And then the brass knuckles get used. But the knockout gets no-sold. And that was the entire purpose of Jericho being in the cage. And then all of a sudden the crowd starts to get a little quieter. Just a little quieter. And then, the chair spot happened after that. Kevin bowling balled in it. You said it, you get it. That's how it works. That's what he did. And he took it like a man, because that was a nasty pyramid of God only knows why you would do that. So
what about the stunner? The easy kick out of the stunner.
Like what the
the stunner and the brass knuckles really upset me about that match.
Well,
also,
that's what really upset you? How about the finish, Byron? How about the freaking finish? You want to cool a crowd? Let's have a pretty good match where there's a few unexplainable bumps and recoveries, and then get to a finish with a run-in at a major pay-per-view, even if you're trying to set up angles. Come on.
But yeah, it was like that Braun wasn't directly involved in any of the story going on. He just came out
No, because they're
whatever.
setting new
Yeah.
story. Because here's
Well, it is
Vince.
now.
Vince rolled out of bed and Vince said, "What are we doing? What are we doing? Oh no, we're doing this now." Come on, you know that's what happened. Vince was like, "Look, that big dude, let's push the hell out of him. What are we doing, guys? Come on, let's push this big guy."
All in all, though, I mean,
And Braun's great. I like Braun, by the way. I don't want to disparage Braun.
He's great, but the two performers, Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens, you put them in a real match, and even in this match, they're going to beat the hell out of each other, and they're going to do a good job with regards to just putting on a good match.
Yeah, and I can't stand Reigns, and it was actually a good match.
He does all right in the ring when someone else will go like hard on him.
Well, and look, and I thought he was actually leading a lot of it. I don't even think KO was leading the whole thing. I think Roman was in there. He was working for real, legit. It wasn't bad.
But the WWE typical booking the aspects ruin the match, where you have Roman's invincible.
Yes.
And then you have they're not going to deliver actual finish to the match.
And I loved the stuff with the announce tables too. I thought there was a lot of good stuff in the match, and then the finish was just like, I get it. It works. It's decent for what they're trying to set up, but on the moment, on the day, for your second or third biggest pay-per-view of the year, just to the ending. Like the rest of the match, kudos to the guys. Good work. Whatever.
They did the Shark Tank gimmick though in NXT for a tag match like a month ago.
Yeah,
well. Exact same thing. A guy drops a weapon from the cage.
The Shark Tank was silly. It was nonsensical. So, what then the Byron, take over for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. Order the matches. I know the Rumble sucked except for Dillinger coming out. That was awesome. And Casey left too. Great. I think the big thing from the Rumble is AJ and Styles comparing that to Okada Omega for some reason. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's really the only big thing that there is to talk about, is that people are trying to compare AJ and Cena versus Omega and Okada.
Well, how can you even do that? Like, don't get me wrong. AJ Cena was good. It was good, but it was not 6 stars.
No, it wasn't. It's a good match, and you know what? Cena is a very, very good worker. AJ is the best worker in the company. And
I love the moment, and I mean, I was a little surprised they didn't make a little more out of it being his 16th win. And doesn't that tie Flair? Casey, you'll know that ties Flair, right?
They were teasing that in like the prior matches with AJ. Casey
it ties Flair and their fake ass number that they came up with that isn't the real number. Like anyone with Wikipedia can fucking look it up and see that they're wrong. But yeah.
Well, and they're wrong. Why? Because he had more NWA title runs that Vince isn't acknowledging.
Yeah, there's a bunch. Because like there were times where he would have to go to a territory and then like drop the title and then win it back
before he
left town. Because he wasn't supposed to lose it, just so like people wouldn't stab him in Puerto Rico.
Gotcha.
You know,
but also you do 2 shows in a town, you get them. You know.
Yeah, but you would have to get those approved usually. But like WWE counts some of those, and it doesn't count some of the other ones. So it's like, why aren't you counting everything?
And what's his real total? Like 21 or something?
I remember he was 20-something in WCW, wasn't he?
That's what they said.
But so maybe that's also why they didn't want to disparage the Ric Flair total on the broadcast too much. Maybe that's why they didn't make more of an angle out of the fact that Cena tied it, which is smart on their part. Like, let's not make a big deal out of it because, yes, in our record books, it is up there. But at the same time, let's not throw one of the greatest ever under the bus just because we finally gotten to this number with this guy that we need to have the belt right now.
Let's not get Jon Stewart fucking involved again either. How about that?
So, well, I approve of it. Look, I like that match.
Broke Seth's knee. It was Jon Stewart. It was an inside job.
Speaking of Seth getting broken, let's the actual Rumble match itself. I got to tell you, I was into the whole thing. I'm not even going to comment on a ton of it. I don't need to. You most of you saw it. Like, don't need to rehash the whole thing. But I mean, look, I like what they've been doing with Goldberg. I know a lot of other people don't. I liked him squashing Brock at the last thing. I liked him throwing him out quick here. I see where it's going. Even if Brock doesn't go over at the end of this whole thing, I don't have a problem with it at all.
That's interesting.
That's just me.
It was a big man rumble. They told that story and they established Braun.
Which was great too. They had a lot of big men to put in at the beginning and a lot at the end too. It was awesome.
But how about Big Show's elimination, which was sad?
You mean the one where he fell 3 inches to touch the floor and almost blew his knee out?
In slow motion.
Yeah. Yeah, and it wasn't slow motion. That was full speed, and it looked.
And he was just like, "This is the low. This is the low point of my career right now."
Well, I have to ask Casey. Your boy Taker looked a little blown up too. What's up? Is that it? Is he done soon? Is this the last WrestleMania for Taker?
Watch that shit. You know what I watched instead of the Royal Rumble? I watched the '80s classic slasher movie, The Prowler, and it was fucking great. Available on Shudder. It's where they discover Joseph Zito, the director of the great Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter. It has a head explosion in it that rivals Scanners. And
watch your mouth now. Watch it. Come on. The Scanners head explosion is the stuff of legend.
This one's pretty dope. It's with a gun, and it's fucking sweet. And the dude looks cool, the slasher, because he's a World War II veteran, so he's wearing like an army suit when he kills people. Somehow he gets a pitchfork in a bathroom and stabs someone with it. It's fucking great. There's a bayonet kill that's kind of like Kevin Bacon's death in Friday the 13th, but like through the whole head. It's fucking great, but down, like from the top of the head down and through the neck. It's fucking amazing. I can't recommend it enough.
Casey, I have a hot take on Taker in the Rumble that I think you want to listen to.
Sure.
I don't personally. Taker's always been in camera shape, looking good for his returns. I think stuff fell through. They didn't give him enough time to get in shape to come on to make TV for this.
I mean, he had to have known he was coming to the Rumble, though. I don't think that was any secret to anybody.
I just really think he's usually in better shape. I just have to think that. But
he's usually not another year older. Like maybe this is just the year that did it.
He's so blown up.
He broke the fucking streak is what he should have done. God.
He got blown up watching guys jump into his choke slams. He couldn't even pick someone up to tombstone them.
Okay, so he's got a couple months before Mania. Can he get it together before Mania?
Absolutely. He's a professional.
All right. Casey, you're going to watch Mania to see if Taker can no? Yes?
Fuck no. I'll probably be reading some more Power Man and Iron Fist.
Good choice, by the way.
Casey, you don't want to watch Taker job to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania?
Dude, you know what? I don't even want to watch the Iron Fist TV show because he fucking looks like you, Byron.
Oh, come on. That Iron Fist TV show is going to be good. All right, number 30, Byron. Byron, number 30. Number 30. What do you do with number 30?
What you do is
Rey Mysterio.
You turn all the crowd mics off.
Do that yet.
And then you go on Twitter and see people post just enormous boos, live reaction videos to number 30 walking down to the ring.
And he could be in the match. I don't have a problem with him being in the match.
Yeah.
But number 30, dude.
It was bad.
Can we talk about Twitter?
There were so many people we wanted in the Rumble. We wanted a surprise.
Okay.
It was super easy. Like, look, Kenny Omega's not going to show up. The big surprise, the good surprise isn't going to happen.
No.
Why is it not Samoa Joe? You can put Samoa Joe in there, have everyone gang up on him and eliminate him, but still get the pop of the surprise. And then the angle the next night on Raw can still be exactly the same.
Oh, you want to see a Samoan, pal? Huh?
They got the wrong Samoan.
I got a Samoan, pal. No,
the cookie?
I just got to say that I noticed a little thing on Twitter. Like, I fucking hate Dolph Ziggler, with a passion, right? It's Megadeth, you fucking poser. I might say that, just once. Gets the point across, right? Roman Reigns non-fans talk about Roman Reigns more than Roman Reigns fans. It's fucking annoying. It's
that's part of why they still think that he's over.
And it was the same thing with John Cena. People who didn't like Cena talked about him more than people that fucking loved Cena. And it's like, all right.
Well, I went through a love-hate thing with him, but I will say I appreciate him at this point. Like, the gimmick doesn't bother me at this point, and him being a part-timer helps.
It's like I would shit on Sexy Star, but only when she's winning belts and beating Pentagon. Like, I fucking don't just make it my daily routine.
Well, look, Cena and Reigns have been winning belts.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is, like, the Roman Reigns non-fan is like Byron talking about Donald Trump, but with Roman Reigns instead.
I got you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I completely know what he's talking about.
Did you hear about the Bowling Green massacre, by the way?
What is that?
It was a travesty, and it's the reason why we're doing what we're doing today.
Talking about wrestling? I agree.
Yes.
All right. Well,
yeah.
Raw and SmackDown were relatively the follow-ups that we thought they would be, other than the Samoa Joe finally debuts and puts Seth Rollins out for a couple of 3 days.
Yeah,
can I say that I was watching the Rumble on the East Coast time, and it was late, and I literally fell asleep when Roman was walking to the ring. I was like, oh, this is 30.
I'm literally falling asleep when we're talking about this now. I'm reading Power Man and Iron Fist.
And then I tried watching Raw, and I literally fell asleep moments before the segment that Samoa Joe came out to. And I think I'm put to sleep by Samoans unintentionally. I love Samoa Joe. I watched his segment. It was cool.
Dude, whatever. The Rock would not put you to sleep. Fuck you.
And for the record, I don't have a problem with Orton winning. I don't know exactly what they're setting up, but that's good.
You know what they're setting up?
I fucking hate Randy
sued for a concussion. They're getting
set
up having him. Casey, we're not doing comic books yet. That's the next segment. They're setting up Orton getting to do a cool angle with the Wyatts. So he gets to do something interesting. He gets to be happy and sort of heel. And they have him win the Rumble because Brock went above and beyond elbowing his head.
Yeah, which is good. And again, I don't have any problem with this. I don't like how they necessarily got to that ending, but Orton winning at the end, I'm fine with. I'm okay with it.
Orton Wyatt at Mania.
But it was but how they faced off and how Bray Wyatt literally ran over the top rope from across the ring, that was lame.
Yeah.
Remember how he used to be like the scary guy? Like they really fucked up Bray Wyatt like a lot.
He's doing a little bit better.
He's teetering right now. It's getting there. All right, so I'll leave that all alone. Casey,
can I do NXT real quick?
Yeah.
No.
I took no. There was a takeover before we leave wrestling.
All right, but you got to hurry up because I desperately need to talk about this face-off episode because it was
fucking tired, Byron. Okay, that's good.
So the opening match was
this is what happens when you turn 50 people. You turn 50 and then everything just starts to go. Your knees start to go. Your ability to stay up late starts to go. It's all going downhill, guys. We turned 50.
Okay, so face off.
Yeah, it was great.
So
he can pick himself off mute.
It's 12:40 right now. So I like the Dillinger match. The thing about him in NXT is we want him to win the big one, and he had a match against Eric Young. And put over Sanity. It was okay. I liked it a lot. But
look, he's just lucky he got his 10 the next day in the Rumble. But that's the big news.
And I'm glad he's on the roster. I liked a lot. I've been liking his matches and his gimmick work, and I'm rooting for him. But the thing is, the next match was CN and Roddy Strong, who is super vanilla to me. But in this match, I got to see him really turn it up. And this match really blew away Dillinger and Eric Young. This felt like an NXT championship match. I thought it was really good. I enjoyed the backbreaker type offense of Roddy Strong. And I really enjoyed that CN is really organically getting into his unmasked heel character, and he's bringing a little bit of La Sombra into it. I'm happy. CN jobbed. That sucked. Also, Roddy does mostly variations of backbreakers. He did a real cool one where he dropped. You guys left. Okay, well, he dropped CN onto the turnbuckle for a backbreaker. That was really cool. But yeah, it was cool. His move sets are backbreakers, and his finish is a kick to the face. That doesn't make sense. DIY, that match was what it was. It was good, and the big guys won, and the little guys probably are gonna, I don't know, go up to the main roster. Good women's match. I'm very excited about Nikki Cross. I think they're putting her in a position where she can compete one-on-one with Asuka, who's untouchable, which I really like. And then Peyton and Billy, they're working on their characters really well. They were effective, but they're also kind of blatantly, Emma and Dana again.
Wait, that was jamming. What was that? What was that,
And
Luch?
like the other mean girls, that Sasha and them all were doing. And the main event was great. Shinsuke was losing, so he went all out and kicked the shit out of Bobby Roode. And they did a really good ending where Shinsuke had the escape, he had sort of, the out. He hurt his knee. His offense are his knees, so he couldn't quite finish. But Bobby Roode still won clean, though.
Yes,
like he didn't. Like,
can I get to the moral of the story now?
I'm Bobby ecstatic. Still let him come up and fight.
I'm ecstatic that they put the gold on Bobby Roode. I love Bobby Roode. I love the gimmick. I love what he's been doing. I liked his work in TNA. I like Bobby Roode. I like everything about what they're doing with him. And he feels bigger than NXT. He's not, but he feels bigger than NXT, and that's what they need. Just like Shinsuke feels bigger than NXT, they need 2 more guys in there that feel bigger than NXT. Asuka's close, but not quite. And then NXT is skyrocketing again after they called up the masses of people that felt bigger than NXT when they were there. So they need a couple more, but Bobby Roode, perfect choice. Shinsuke needed to have some vulnerability. Love it. All right. You got anything else there? Now, Urban, what's up?
I'm here. Hold on a second. I got something for you guys.
Is it a birthday present?
Well, yeah, it's celebrate your 50th episode and our return to the stream. I'm dying.
You've been dying for years, man. That's nothing new. Tell me something new.
We all die every day, Justin.
Just wait till you see the stream and you get and you realize, God damn it, I can't.
Yeah, I didn't get to see the Heels show tonight.
I need a light.
The Heels went on at the same time that we did today, which is rare. We don't normally cannibalize each other. So if you're hearing this right now and you've watched us and not the Heels, go back and watch the Heels. If you're listening to them right now, fuck you. You should have listened to us first.
And if you
there you go.
If you want to learn more about cannibals, listen to the song "Transvestites Can Be Cannibals Too" by Harley Poe. Thank you.
And that bad diarrhea fucking shit.
He was just playing that.
It when Byron was talking about NXT and none of us wanted to hear it.
I forgot to mention it. It was really especially bad.
So are we toasting?
Yes, this is for you guys.
Cheers.
Happy 50th.
You guys notice it's like really hard to look manly drinking a straw?
That's why I'll bring a polka dot flask.
If you will. He's got a bicycle.
He's got a bicycle, if you will.
There you go, guys. That's for y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you,
There's a
Urban.
lady in the men's bathroom.
By the way, the Heels did it first.
Urban, if we want to, Urban is if we want to watch the Heels or listen to the Heels, if we want the Heels this week, do we need to do the stream or can we podcast it?
No, we are abandoning Podomatic. Podomatic can suck my dick. They're overpriced fucking subscription fees for little bandwidth and little storage.
So
not
is
a good
YouTube
deal for
gonna
the
be
Heels.
the place? Where's the primary place to find you guys now? YouTube?
YouTube, because it's free, baby. It's free.
For now.
I hear that. I mean, we're still on many sources. People are always like, well, how come you don't have more hits on this and this and this? It's like, Dude, because we're on iTunes and SoundCloud and YouTube and Blueberry or whatever the fuck. Like,
and people need to worry about their own fucking hits if they're asking you that, Justin.
no, I don't care. I don't answer. We
It's
spread
too
it
much
out so
the
people
heels,
can get it.
The heels are simplifying. Cheaper, fucking more powerful. We're getting better, baby. You'll see it in the fucking stream. Anyway, we're getting off the Podomatic because of money. And then YouTube because it's free. I know what it's like to deal with all that Stitcher and all that bullshit and putting your shit out there. We were going to do SoundCloud, but I'm like, why the fuck would I even edit anything anymore? Why would I edit anything anymore? We don't care.
I've always liked you guys unedited better anyway, but that's your call. If you don't mind leaving in the botches.
Fuck the botches. They're there for a reason.
That's what I always said. I love them. That's the best part.
Exactly. So yeah, we're going YouTube, man, and we're going hard.
Can I answer someone in the chat? Austin Honecker, are Rey Mysterio, Pentagon Phoenix, Sexy Star, and Jack Evans still going to be LU season 4? I hope Sexy Star isn't. There's your answer, Austin. Thank you for listening.
Okay, God, I'm gonna answer this question seriously. Read me the list again. Let's do them one by one.
Phoenix, Pentagon, Sexy Star.
Wait, no, let's do them one by one. Phoenix, yes.
Pentagon.
Maybe.
Rey Mysterio.
Uncertain. The Magic 8 Ball says this is unclear.
The guy who's publicly saying that his LU contract is up, by the way.
Yeah.
Which also Prince Puma did. Sexy Star.
Yes. To Casey's dismay. Yes.
Jack Evans.
Yes.
Steve Blackman, the Lethal Weapon.
No, but he'll come on the podcast if Casey
Steve Blackman is
confirmed. He's there.
Steve Blackman's in every match. You just haven't seen him. He moves too quick.
So and here's the reason why. Like a couple of weeks ago, I would have said you'll probably see all these guys. But I have this sneaking feeling that the way things are going down right now, some of this is going to end up on a case-by-case basis. Like, I just don't know that you can answer all these questions. I believe, the simple fact of the matter is you're hearing guys like Cuerno and some of these other guys talk about it. Different guys have different contracts with Lucha Underground. I'm not even just talking about the AAA contracts or whatever, but with Lucha Underground, they have different contracts. There's different ones out there. Some guys were able to negotiate other things, like Cuerno, who says he's happy because he did a separate thing after he got injured and came back and did a new thing. He doesn't have one of those original contracts. So it seems to me like they do have existing Lucha contracts. These people all can come back. They all have offers to come back or existing contracts to come back. But that doesn't mean those things will stay in play. Nobody really knows after what's going on with Pentagon and AAA recently. We saw Phoenix still do promotion and things for Lucha Underground since he left his contract with AAA. So I believe that everything is worked out with him. I mean, Byron and I saw him sit right next to Dorian on a panel for the Bailey Center, which, believe you me, if he wasn't going to be back and if they didn't want to put the guy over, he would not have been there. They would not have been giving him major media exposure. And Dorian put him over that day, by the way.
The shit went down in Dorian's.
Hold on. Austin, answer to your next question is it's still going to be on both. Don't worry about it. We go into it in depth earlier in the episode. Go back, listen to it. Listen to Marty's interview, too. That shit was dope. That was like the best interview we've ever done. So as soon as we finish the episode, you'll probably be able to go back and listen from the beginning, I think.
Yeah, it takes 10 or 15 minutes to buffer, but then you can go back and watch it. I'll archive it up immediately for you. What was his other question?
If it's going to be on El Rey or just Netflix, and it's going to be on both.
No. It'll be both. The way I understand what is most likely, and I'm not going to report it as fact, but what I'm going to say is most likely the Netflix deal is there's a window that they'll have where new episodes are not airing, where they can run season 1 and season 2 on Netflix before the hiatus comes back. They'll have a nice window there. It'll lead in for Netflix to the debut of G.L.O.W. and some other stuff that they have. So now that they have a couple wrestling related products and a couple documentaries, because they like to tag these things where it's you can watch this, you can watch that. It will be, I believe, North America. I don't know about Mexico, but it looks like Canada and the U.S. for sure for now. And the date is not specified. I have that from a reliable source. It is not necessarily February 15th. The people who are in the know that would know the answer to this question, it is not going to air or not going to be dumped in there because they have to do technical things with the actual show to make it ready for Netflix, like subtitling and captions and other languages, because the first season was in English and Spanish, but the second season wasn't. There's just technical stuff that they have to deal with to make the show be ready, and 2 weeks from now is not realistic in a lot of ways. So the people who
They're
would
lazy.
would be amazed
They're
to see
lazy.
it happen. So if you're hearing reports out there that are saying February 15th, that is not a confirmed date by anyone who is actually responsible for distributing this product. That's the answer.
Yeah,
I'll say it
thanks for
again.
listening, Austin. We haven't seen you in the chat before, dude. Hope you like the show. But yeah, go back and listen because we do a whole hour on this. Well, no, not really like an hour. We do like 20 minutes on it or something. But
Yeah,
we really go.
And it's interesting
we
to hear
talk about it
Marty's thoughts on it too, because they're very in line with a lot of what we've been saying for a few weeks. But yeah, so I think really the answer is, like a few weeks ago, I stated very, very, very emphatically that I believe that most of your favorite Lucha talents would be back for season 4. And I am going to backpedal. I'm not afraid to admit that I might have been partially wrong with recent developments, that I do not know if that is in fact the case anymore. I have reason to believe that not everybody knows the answer. So I won't say that something is an answer if I don't know it to be the case. I think these are case-by-case situations. I think they're being looked at very carefully. I think everyone is looking into making sure that Lucha Underground can present the best possible product that they can, but I don't know. I mean, these are contracts. These are people's livelihoods. They're their jobs. Like, this is serious shit, and I'm not going to sit here and disparage anybody involved in that process because it's their livelihood. People have things to stand to gain things and lose things. Like, Pentagon is super over in the States. Lucha Underground's been a big part of it. I don't want to see him lose that opportunity, but I can't tell you that whatever happened with him down in Mexico and AAA and if that affects his standing with Lucha Libre FMV LLC and the company that Dorian is a GM of, and if Dorian's going to take that to Lucha Underground and have a good case for Pentagon breaking his contract down there and it being a problem up here. I don't know. Nobody does. And anybody who's telling you that they do know the answer to that is just wrong right now. Pentagon made his move. The AAA guys made their move, trying to trademark his new name. Clearly there's friction. Clearly these people are not happy with each other. What else is anyone going to say about it? I mean, there's nobody other than those people and those parties. And then at the end of the day, you have to have, the 12 executive producers on Lucha Underground and MGM and Factory Made and El Rey Network. Those guys have to look at it and see what they think about these situations and what they want to do, So I'm sure that Dorian, as the GM of the LLC, will, say what he thinks should happen. I'm sure Eric Van Wagenen, as, the main production person of the TV show, will say what he thinks should happen. I'm sure DJ will fight for whatever storyline he thinks is the best storyline. I'm sure Skip will come in and say his piece on behalf of, El Rey and him being an executive producer. Like, everyone's going to have a say. A lot of people are going to speak up, and these guys are going to duke it out, and they're going to do what they think is going to work best for the show, work best for their end of it. What's going to work best for the intellectual properties, what's going to work best for the merchandise, what's going to work best for the TV product, what's going to work best for marketing. There's a lot of people who get to have a say so. So anybody who thinks they know how this is going to go down at the end of the day, right now, today, this second, they don't know. Period.
I know.
Sorry.
I know. I fucking
What do you know, Urban?
I know it's going down. It's confirmed.
Hey,
It's
Urban,
not-
do you watch Face Off?
Yeah, we're contractually obligated because me and Casey high-fived over a beer on it, except it wasn't over a beer. We're going to talk about Face Off because this show is freaking awesome.
What's it on? What you got?
Sci-fi.
Sci-fi. Is that on the YouTubes?
No, I watch it on Sci-Fi on demand.
Yeah, you can watch it on sci-fi.com too.
Okay, send the link to me. I'll watch it.
Here's why you should like this show, especially this week. The challenge this week was to create makeup. Like these guys do costumes and art and special effects and whatnot, like makeup. And the contest this week was to create an angel and a demon costume, except you had to combine them and you had to use kind of your own traits to show the inner angel and demon sitting on your shoulders and kind of blend the whole thing together, which was a great idea. Whoever wrote this challenge, I give them the big high five because this is making some fools that know how to do some stuff, because these people are all pros. Making some pros have to stretch and put something together in 3 days. So, as Casey knows, and anybody who watches the show knows, Ben and Evan were skating on thin ice coming into this week, and Sci-Fi even acknowledged our tweets about that. Like these dudes got their work cut out for them. Did you think Ben and Evan were going to chunk it this week, Case?
Fuck. Once I started seeing them sculpt, I didn't, because like that demon face was looking dope like right away.
Yeah, but they had a dope mask last week too.
Yeah.
And the rest
That's
just
true.
Fell flat. It was bad.
This was a great redemption story for them. I feel bad for the girls that were bottom looks with them last week and this week.
Oh, Stella and Jasmine?
Yeah, and Justin, you don't know this because you haven't watched as many seasons. They don't usually do 3 top looks. They do 2 usually. So I think they wanted to do 3 just to highlight how far Ben and Evan came.
Well, I mean, and to really make them safe was like, no, last week was an anomaly for those guys and wasn't necessarily an anomaly for them this week. What I thought, I loved that they showed the creation process of Sig doing the stained glass thing. Mm-hmm. I'm glad it got some time in the middle of the show because I thought it was awesome, and it didn't really get a lot of time at the end of the show.
No, and it's cool. He's probably my favorite person to see explain things because he always does it very clearly and talks about why he's doing what he's doing, when a lot of the other people, when they interview him, just say what they're doing. And I think that it just makes it a lot more interesting when they come to him for stuff like that.
Okay, so I got to ask about Logan and Dan. Their design phase, though, I'm like, this is sweet. Like, I was digging the whole chest burster thing and the whatever. Like, wasn't the concept there? That was dope, right?
Yeah, but then the way they painted it just, I don't know.
Where did it fail? Where did it go wrong? I was trying to figure that out the whole time because it was like from the get-go, I was like, oh, these guys got it nailed. They're fine.
You know what I think it was is when it was in the concept, I thought it was the demon ripping out of the angel. It's supposed to be the angel ripping out of the demon.
Is that what was going on?
Yeah.
Well, that failed because the guy with the wig and everything, he looked like Nicolas Cage was trying to be an angel with a bad hairpiece or something.
Yeah, and we know Nicolas Cage wears bad hairpieces sometimes, like in Ghost Rider. But, dude, I do gotta say that our winning team, Kat and Nico, were fucking hilarious throughout this episode.
Yeah, like dude, did Kat ask for a flat out marriage thing to happen at the beginning of the show?
She's like, oh, I thought he was trying to surprise me with a marriage because the challenge was revealed in a church, and she's like, missed opportunity, and there was genuine uncomfortableness.
Like it made me uncomfortable. I was like, dang, this is why you don't go on national television with your lady. She would put you on blast.
When they had to do their bad trait, it was jealousy, and I'm like, oh shit. And
I don't know, like Nico's hair might be in place, but you might need to go home and have some conversations, man.
that guy's hair game's on point, man. Holy shit. To the point where the judges even made like a Neville was making fun of a man who shaves his head was commenting on how great his hair was.
Dude, their sculpture had more movement than his hair. I don't know how he does that.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that looked great though. They had this whole kind of like veiny thing.
What was the third top look though?
Oh shit.
I can't remember.
Was it?
It wasn't Sig and George.
Was it Tyler and Emily? It was Tyler and Emily, where they had the thing that was based on the architecture with the rust.
Yeah, which I thought was really mediocre at first, and then when they did close looks, it was dope. It was like it was rusting away. It had some cool stuff going on. Like I really liked it when they did the closer look.
Close too, but like, dude, I didn't read Angel or Demon from any of it.
From which one?
From theirs with the rust, Tyler and Emily. Like,
yeah, no, I had put them in my judgment of it. I had put them in the middle of the pack. Like it wasn't terrible or whatever. I did like it though after they showed it up close. I liked it a lot more. Who else made the middle of the pack? What, Gage and Rachel? They did fine, but it wasn't really special. It was, you know.
Team Merwolf, our winners last week, they were in the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Because they had some problems with the headpiece.
And so I guess this ending wasn't really a surprise, right? It wasn't a surprise to you, was it?
Because the girls who went home, the whole episode was showing them fuck up. Like they didn't have a concept in that early phase, which that completely fucks you over.
You know what? But it's one of the things I watch a lot of reality shows. I really liked about this show was the fact that there wasn't some red herring. No. They showed you that they were having a tough time the whole time. They were a little later getting their concept. Like they didn't walk out of the church with something solid. They had some issues with a mold at one point. They were just having issues the whole time. And then at the end, it wasn't that surprising that it didn't come together for them. It was their second week in the bottom. And it also wasn't like the show was trying to humiliate them either. They weren't trying to say that they did bad work. And that for me is one of the tough things about this as a reality show. It's like on Face Off, it's not like Hell's Kitchen where you've got like two real chefs and a bunch of freaking idiots. So you can send them home whenever you want and not feel bad. Every single person on this show is a highly qualified, skilled individual.
More so this season because it's all stars. You get a couple jobbers in the other seasons.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying this is tough because it's like, these are real people who can work in this industry every day, every single one of them. They are skilled professionals, and it's not like what you get on most shows where there's just some friggin' hack in there that for your own entertainment, you want to see them get chewed up. Like, no, what I want to see is I want to see these people do great work and do awesome stuff. And then I feel genuinely bad when someone's getting sent home, even these two. Like, I didn't feel too bad in this situation because they really just couldn't quite pull it together, and they just didn't have the right
Their
look.
Paint looked good though. Like they did a really cool paint job on it. It's just the sculpting looked like shit. But
yeah, I thought so. But I mean, I think it was just rushed. They just didn't have it together. And look, 3 days for some people, I mean, they might be the best makeup artists in the world, but on 3 days, sometimes even the best might fall short.
And when you burn one of the days still trying to come up with a concept and then you change it 2 more times during the 2 days that you're working, you're extra fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like this episode overall. I'm very much looking forward to it. I didn't know how the elimination was going to play. It was like, so basically now we know that basically the first week, even if you end up in the bottom, you're kind of safe. Yeah, it's the second week that's going to matter more because Ben and Evan, they're not going to say, okay, you guys were in the bottom on the second week. You guys were in the bottom on the first week. So we're going to take the 2 worst of those and eliminate them.
Right.
No, it's whoever gets called out that second week is the one that's going to go home. So first week, you want to do good work, but that second week, you really want to avoid the bottom.
The dynamic really changes once they get down to just a few teams and they're getting closer to the semifinals to where it's all good work and then everyone's equally fucked, like even if it's just slightly off, which is cool because it heats up near the end of the season. Right now, it's just kind of the feeling out phase, and I would say that the first week, the immunity is the big deal, big time, because you can fuck up all you want that second week if you really needed to.
Well, I agree. I'm looking forward to next week. Anything else you got on Face Off before we talk a little UFC and then get the hell out of here?
No, I heard that next week's is going to be really cool from some of the ads and stuff, but I don't know what to expect because they're good about like not spoiling stuff until it's the fucking finale on Twitter, and I get that spoiled for me. So I don't follow the Face Off account anymore because of that shit. I'll follow all the artists because they won't do it, but fucking Face Off does it.
See, I know that now, and now I don't know if I should. I'm still following, but I'm pretty good about not looking at stuff that I don't want to see. UFC, the fights for the first half of this year might not end up being all that great, but the amount of news and things that are happening in the UFC world is tremendous. Ronda Rousey, very quickly, Dana White said some things on the Unfiltered podcast. I'm not going to get into the whole thing. Just go listen to their show if you want. But Ronda might be at the end of it. That might be it. That might be all we see. I don't know. It's a strange way to go out. I just want to say this about Ronda. Her last 2 losses do not, for me as an MMA fan, diminish anything that she did before.
That's a good way to look at it. And you're seeing a lot of people talk shit like she didn't do anything before when she fucking did.
And it was amazing. It was an amazing, amazing run. And I don't think this is the greatest way to go out, but at the same time, it doesn't, for me, diminish any one single minute of that run or how amazing it was to me as a fan watching it. I still appreciate every single moment. I even appreciate Holly taking her out. I don't appreciate this last fight very much, which is why it's sad that this is the way it's going. And I do kind of put a little bit of that on Edmund, but whatever. And I'll be excited if she shows up in WWE or does some other stuff. I'll think it's unfortunate if she just takes time off and goes away and lives on a farm somewhere, because I think as a public persona, whether you like her or not, I think she's very interesting. I happen to like heel personas. I also never looked at her as a face. I always looked at her as a heel, even in UFC. There was times when she was coming up where she looked like she was going to kill announcers and other people, and she just always looked like that mean, evil person. And I thought they tried to give her a softer touch, but she didn't ever need to have. I thought she was a halfway miserable person and grumpy and mean, and
that's what was cool.
That's why I hang out with Casey. Like, I don't mind these things in an individual. I thought it was cool. I agree. So, I don't know. I just, I think it's unfortunate if she goes away from public life altogether, because I think that she is a fabulous athlete and a great entertainer, and I think that there's still things out there that she could do. And if she doesn't want to do those in a cage, putting people's lights out, that's fine. I go to wrestling. She loves wrestling. I'd love to see her and Shayna Baszler come into WWE together and bring a little bit of that angle with them. The other 4 horsewomen that were going around a few years ago. So that's all. That's my thoughts on Ronda. Talking about the women's division. Boy, I can't remember a time where I got more fights wrong in my picks than this past weekend. Like, I had Aljo, I had Cowboy, I had Pena. I had a bad night according to my picks.
I think a lot of people fucking had Pena and were very surprised. And then
honestly, that entire show was a vehicle for her to become a star, and it didn't work.
But you know what? It worked in reverse because of one dance that became a meme.
You like the Shevchenko?
Yes, dude, that was fucking amazing.
And then it comes out afterwards that she's been on like a European version of Dancing with the Stars or whatever, and she's got as many qualifications as Paige Van Zandt to be cutting a rug.
Well, shit.
And I've listened to like 15 interviews with this woman before, and I've never knew this stuff. It just came out. She was like on an actual reality dancing show in Europe somewhere.
Dude, it just goes to show you how many shows there are in other markets that we never see or hear of until the last moment, and they're versions of our shows.
Well, it also goes to show you that UFC was not planning on pushing her. I mean, most of what I know from her is from non-UFC. I heard the whole story about her and her sisters and her coach and them, being at the shootout in the restaurant and all this other stuff and all her crazy cool story. from, you know, Ariel and third-party media, not from UFC. I don't think they ever planned on pushing her. And this is part of the problem, is like that situation was designed for Pena.
Yeah.
She is a beast, and it would have been great business for them, and they would have had another superstar in their hands. And now it's Shevchenko. So we'll be lucky in this fight with Nunes and Shevchenko if combined, the two of them can put together a complete sentence in English.
See this fucking shithead leave the show just now?
That's fine. Whatever. It's whatever. We see where his loyalty is. Like, he can't even hang out for our 50th birthday party, man.
Yeah, exactly. When he's the one that's actually 50 years old.
Yeah. And Cowboy Masvidal did not disappoint. It's amazing fight. Loved every
You know
minute
what?
of it.
You did say
Very
someone
disappointed
get
Cowboy
knocked out.
lost.
You did say someone was going to get fucked up. You just had the wrong guy. But
No,
you
and I said it could go either way, but at the same time, of course, I'm going to put it on Cowboy. Cowboy's had an amazing run at welterweight. He's my boy. I want to see him win, you know, and it didn't happen. I don't think it diminishes his career. I think it makes a star out of Masvidal, and we'll take it from here.
I do got to say that at the end of the fight, they kind of made him look like Jason from Friday the 13th, Part 3.
Nice.
Not quite Part 4, because that's when you get a real beating.
Now, Part 3 was in 3D, right?
Yeah. He's got like the pitchfork sticking out.
Now, which was the Nightmare on Elm Street that had 3D just at the end?
That was Freddy's Dead, and I don't like to talk about that one. That's 6. That fucking terrible movie. I tell people Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, stop at Part 4.
I just remember going and seeing that movie in the theater, and, you know, I had a good time or whatever, but I was just like, what is this? And I don't even know, like, I was too young to see Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D in the theater. Like, my folks just wouldn't let me go. I was like preteenish or whatever. But so then when Nightmare on Elm Street came around and they doing this 3D gimmick and I was old enough to go, I was like stoked. Like, this is the moment that I missed out when I was little. And then I get there and it's like, oh man, what is this shit?
Yeah, it's like, oh,
it was still fun, but
we get to see Alice Cooper talking to a dude in 3D though.
Yeah, well,
which was cool. Guy with the belt. But yeah, and everyone's like, Casey, my parents don't let me go to R-rated movies. How does Freddy die? And I'm like, they blow him up, and I go, that's fucking bullshit.
Lame. Did you see any of this Conor presser thing that him and Ariel did at the same time that the UFC on Fox was on?
I heard about it. I didn't see it. And I think that's hilarious that they did that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some interesting stuff that came out of, but dude, how much of a baller do you have to be where it's just like, okay, first of all, I'm not showing up to UFC press conferences, which is why the whole UFC 200 thing happened. And now I'm throwing my own press conference and you're going to pay me $4 for it.
Yeah. And let's just have Ariel there too, because, you know, this guy's in hot water all the fucking time anyway.
Yeah, what? How much more of an FU to UFC can you do than to have Ariel do it? But I don't even think Conor picked him. I think this other outside company picked him because they didn't want to hire any Fox or UFC guys.
Do we know how much he made off of that?
Like, not yet, but like, dude, to sit around and have cocktails and talk with Ariel Helwani, the same thing that you do for free when it's on MMA Hour to promote your fights, and to get paid for it any amount of money is pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's smart business.
So, you know, there was some of the regular stuff of him calling Nate a bitch, which was very interesting. And he said that Nate was Floyd's bitch. You know, and clearly Floyd is the ticket right now. Floyd is the biggest price tag $sign he can get. So that's what he's touting more than anything else.
Yeah, sounds like he's scared.
I was a bit surprised at how dismissive he was about Khabib and Tony, even when people in the crowd started chanting Khabib. But that just goes to show you that in Conor's world, these guys just aren't over enough. I think, however, and Tony's a homie. Like, I want Tony to win. I want Tony to be the guy. But if you're talking about international markets and paydays, if Khabib gets the win over Tony, that dude is huge.
Yeah.
That dude becomes a real player if he gets the win over Tony. More than Tony would if he gets the win over Khabib.
Dude, but who are you gonna like shit on if you're Conor? The fight that's gonna give you millions and millions of dollars with Mayweather that you want to have happen? Or yeah, you're gonna treat these other guys like a fight that's less worth seeing. because you're not going to get Mayweather money. You're going to get a shitload of money.
Yeah, 25 mil or 20 mil or something like that, but it ain't going to be 80 mil or 100 mil. You're not going to do, fours on pay-per-view with Khabib, but you're going to get a big pay-per-view number. You got all of Russia behind Khabib, all of Ireland behind Conor and Boston. You'll get a big number from Khabib, Conor. That's probably the biggest number you get in the UFC right now, in my opinion. I think that's bigger than Nate Conor 3. I think Khabib,
the challengers, though, he's looking at a fight where he could get pretty fucked up.
oh yeah, it's not a fun way to earn $20 million, but it's $20 million.
Right. Yeah. True.
And who cares if he wins or loses? And honestly, I hope that UFC gets this, and I hope Conor gets this too. I think Conor is now officially to the point where he wins. It's fine if he loses. If he loses, there's still 5 or 6 more fights. I think there's still more big fights left for him, even if he loses all of them, then would outlast the rest of his career anyway. This isn't a guy I imagine is going to fight 20 more times anyway. No. He's going to fight 5 or 6 more times. They're going to be mega event, huge, super big moments. And here I think is really cool about Conor. I think he knows that. And I think that even though he's got these other opportunities to do other things, he turned down the Predator movie, he said in this thing. Mm-hmm. Like, he thought about it for a while, but it was coming around the time his baby's due, and he's got this other stuff going on. He was going to start the McGregor promotions and this, that, and the other thing, but he was really just like, yeah, but I'm making the cheddar. Fighting's what I love. So why not focus on that? Why not have that be the thing? It is. Mm-hmm. Go for the Floyd fight. That's bigger than Predator. You make $100 million doing the Floyd fight. You make what? $10 million doing Predator?
Probably not even that. It won't do. Predators didn't do very well the last one.
Yeah, and with Conor McGregor in it, like, it's not going to be super huge. It'll be a decent action movie. It'll make $40 million or whatever, $50 million, but it's not going to be a $200 million movie. It's not going to be the next Lord of the Rings or something.
The fact that they asked him makes me think it's like straight to DVD anyway. Jesus.
Right, which is where a lot of these guys end up. It's like, as big as GSP might have been in MMA, he's not making blockbuster movies.
Oh,
yes,
dude,
he's in Captain America. Yeah, he's in it.
Yeah,
for a fight scene, and it's awesome.
And
but he is not the star of the movie.
Character awesome, because Backtrack the Leaper, come on, shittiest character.
Yeah, he made the character better.
Yeah.
But I think Conor's making the right decision there in general. So he also said that he's having a baby boy and he's going to put him in the cage almost immediately, which is kind of stupid stuff that every guy who's about to have a kid says until he actually has a kid.
Bad idea.
And he also said was offered WrestleMania. And at first he was kind of talking like he might have turned it down, but then when Ariel directly asked him if he turned it down, he said, no, there's still a thing on the table. It's still being talked about. I would put it at maybe a 10% chance. It just sounds like he wants to focus more on getting the Floyd fight and whatnot. But if it's something that the way that it felt to me was like, if he's going to do it, he wants to do it right. Mm-hmm. Like, he doesn't want to just show up and do an appearance like Ronda did. Like, he wants to do an angle. He wants to go in there and look like a badass. He wants to beat somebody up. And if they do that and come with some money and it doesn't hurt his schedule too much and he doesn't have a fight coming up, that he'll do it. Yeah. That's what it sounded like. Now, he didn't directly say any of that stuff, but that's kind of the way I was reading it, of like, yeah, there's some things on the table. And he's talking about, he wants to go in and basically do a shoot and really give somebody a knock or something, is what he said. So basically, it sounds like he wants to go over. He wants to look like a badass. Vince has done this stuff for people before.
Yeah.
So I could see an angle with Conor where he comes in and he looks super tough and does something. So, I would say that there is still some modicum of a possibility that Conor McGregor shows up at WrestleMania. I would like to hope that it's more likely that Ronda Rousey shows up there because she needs it and he doesn't need it at all.
Right. It sucks that there's no brawl for all the wrong guy one that they can punish by putting him against Conor, like Butterbean, Bart Gunn. But that was amazing. Oh my God. That was the biggest pop in the living room with me and my friends watching that fucking WrestleMania.
Hey, dude, they could bring back ADR because I heard he's MMA fights, and then Conor could fight ADR for real in WWE.
That would be amazing. I would resubscribe to the network.
I know. I actually I got my network subscription going on, and I'm going to talk about that next week because there was actually an ECW event that was pretty big that I was at that I never saw the aired version of it. I never saw the pay-per-view because I was at the event that night. And I don't know if ECW pay-per-views really had good replays back then. Plus, I spent a bunch of money going to it, so why am I going to spend 50, 60 bucks to watch it again at home when I just was there? So I had completely forgotten about it, and I'll talk about it next week, though, because there was some cool stuff that happened at that event, and I've been kind of going back and watching some old ECW, so I might do a trip down ECW lane coming up, especially while Lucha Underground's on hiatus.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'd like to talk about some DDT next week.
Hey, let's try to get to it, man.
DDT Universe free throughout February.
And everybody tune in. We're trying to line up a couple of guests. I told you earlier, I think Thunder Rose is going to come on. We might try to get Ricky Reyes and a couple other people in here as well. I'd love to get Cross back and Vinny Massaro back soon. So keep watching, guys, especially in the hiatus, since we don't have new episodes of Lucha to talk about. We're going to try to keep bringing in some cool, awesome performers from the show. And our schedules are a little more set now, so we can actually do that. It was awesome having Marty in today. And maybe we'll try to twist the arm of some of the bosses when they can actually talk about some stuff to come on the show. But as you've probably noticed, they're not doing a whole lot of shows right now because they want to have some set stuff to talk about, man. They don't want to just spit out maybes and we're working ons. They want to give the goods, I think. So, and I know DJ's been working and didn't even get his Lucha Facts out last night. So,
Damn.
these guys are busy, man. They're working. They're working hard to entertain us. So hopefully, we can get those guys back on too when there's something to say. So unless you got anything else, Case?
Byron sucks.
Besides Byron sucking. And I'm going to go listen to The Last Real Heels right now. So if you listen to all of this, you should go listen to that now because keep the party rolling, right?
Yeah, I'm going to sleep. I got to teach some kids.
Well, I'm definitely going to go and listen to Last Real Heels. So until next time, stay calm and stay in the mix.